this meeting started. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm sorry, but every time this time of the year, I always want to play ball. So, but anyway, some of us will know what that means. But this is the point of the meeting that if anybody's got anything they want to bring up that's not on the agenda, now's your time to speak. So, is there anyone that has anything that's not on the agenda? All right, that's
quickly.
I'll do it.
I just want to give you a quick update on River Hills and our RDA. RDA will meet the 16th, our last meeting of the year down in New Albany, Pine View Center, Government Center. I want to encourage you all, start thinking about something you can use for Ready To. There's going to be money there. I've heard all kinds of, there's going to be money. And it's going to be state money, so there's not going to be any federal highways and byways to go down to spend the money.
Has Clark County built all their paths,
please?
Walking paths and trails? And
well, actually, that is going to be a big thing. I mean, it's, I
know it. I'm being sarcastic.
I know you just like to give me a little bit, but it is, it's really, they look at that. They want that. They want that stuff. And, but I would encourage you to start thinking out of the box of things that you can do. If you don't play, it won't pay. You know, we've got to get you involved in that. And I'm trying to move with the city council. I've been to Austin trying to get you guys, get some ideas.
So I guess my question there would be, Steve, is that if we've submitted a plan, I mean, could we not resubmit the plan we had that you know, is not, you know, hasn't went through yet? It was approved, but funding wasn't approved, so.
It was approved. But as I had told you before, they pulled the rug out from under us.
Oh, I know.
So yes, I'm going to encourage the Y I have already to try to submit something with the new plant coming in there. I mean, that's an attraction that you can add for that, and it is a great tool for economic development. You know, people look at schools and what kind of amenities you have, and that.
I guess my question, I mean, not being sarcastic, but can we submit the same project we had before?
I'm saying yes, but that's just me.
All right.
I'm sure it's still on the book, so I don't know that you need to resubmit that.
So you're saying, I see what you're saying, but you're saying that they could recommend or could go back to past projects and,
yes,
and still say,
and that's
hey,
kind of what we've been aiming for.
Okay.
And I think I've got some pretty good support for the other 4 people on them. You know, I've twisted their arm enough and I hate to say bitched and moaned a lot, but I have been about that. And, you know, they understand. They understand. But Ready To is going to come down the road. And we want to be in the forefront. At least we want to have something ready to propose.
Well, I think that's probably a good idea. And like I said, I'm sure we can come up with some other projects besides the sports complex.
Think out of the box, really. I think that's the most important thing. And I'm disturbed that we didn't get the full funding that we asked for and we're approved for. But I think we've got to go on.
I get that. I was just disturbed.
Lick our wounds and say, hey, you know, let's keep just bug them to death about that.
I was just disturbed at how it's played out.
Well, you're not the only one who was disturbed, but you know, it's one of those things that happen. And quickly for River Hills, it's been really a good year for us. We've had excellent support from the RDA, and our River Hills is the administrative office of the RDA money, and so that's been a real plus for us in River Hills.
How's your new director been done? How's the new director been?
Fantastic. Corey has done an outstanding job for us, and he continues to do that. He's really been out in the communities, and even more so now. But we've been swamped with RDA money and how to use that money and how to spend that money. You know, when you get $47 million, you become very popular with people. And the RDA has relied on River Hills to be the financial advisor and administrative system, and they've done an excellent job, excellent job.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Say December the 16th.
Keep pitching, and I'll keep working for it.
I get you.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Tony.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right, moving on right along. The public hearing for the Children's Advocacy Center, ORCA grant applications. So you guys want to come forward? Come up here and sit?
You come up there and sit?
Yep.
Okay. We can do that.
You not coming?
You should come, Mary Beth. She's a board member, you can come.
You betcha. Come on.
Yeah,
Get off that
Sure,
easy.
why not?
She's not
Yeah.
shy.
she's not shy.
We'll get off that easy.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Jody Hummer. I'm with the Southeastern Indiana Regional Planning Commission, and we're similar to River Hills, what we do. We cover 9 counties in southeastern Indiana, and Jefferson County is one of those. So Jefferson County, Jefferson County is the applicant for a project that will benefit the CAC in Madison. They already have a location there, and the location is not well suited for the needs. It's in a building that has social services in it, probation services in it, and the type of work the CAC does, it's not conducive and private for the children that visit that facility. So Scott County, I know your citizens are serviced by that facility. So they're looking to expand it and putting it in a better location. So they have purchased a piece of property, and they're seeking OKRA public facility grant funds to rehabilitate that building. So that's where we're at right now. I think it was last month, maybe in October, you guys signed a cooperation agreement between the city and the county. Since that time, there's been officials that met at OKRA and decided that the county was best suited to be the applicant versus the city. Jefferson County, yes, Jefferson County, yes. And so what we're required to do is to hold 2 public hearings. This is the first of 2. The second one will be next Tuesday in Scott County to let citizens know that this project is going on. And also ask that you sign a cooperation agreement now with the county and that cooperation agreement basically just states that your citizens benefit from this. But the county is a complete applicant in the project, the CAC, which is Mary Beth Boone. Excuse me, I did not.
They know me.
Yeah, board member, and then Rep. Fry is also a board member, and they are actually putting up the local funds for that project.
So Zach, that'd be the same thing we signed for.
I think it's basically the same thing. It just changes
City to county.
city.
It is.
Yeah.
This is our time.
Yeah, so I gave that to him a little bit ago, so I hope, yeah, he's okay with that. That's what we would ask you guys to do at this point.
So the Children's Advocacy Center has purchased this piece of property with the funds that they had in the CD. And then they've applied for an OKRA grant to renovate the facility, as Jody said. So we are very confident that we'll be able to get this OKRA grant. We're working on it. As you well know, sometimes you think you get something, you're not going to get it. But we're going to work on it very hard, and we're in a position, I think, to get the grant. Recently, we were blessed with some assistance to help our match, and so we'll have that covered, I think. So it's basically, with these 2 girls, it's basically a miracle that we're actually here. We started this process so late, no one told us that it was possible, but it is possible, and frankly, I think it's probably divinely blessed because it's such an important project. These girls deserve all the credit. They've worked like crazy to make this happen. So hopefully, we'll submit our Okra grant early December, or late December,
Late
I'm sorry.
December.
And then we'll, hear by February.
That's right.
And, if that's the case, we'll, get started on renovating the building.
Where's the new facility gonna be?
It's on
West Street.
West Street.
West?
West
It's
Street.
right by the old hospital, where
Oh,
Trilogy
okay.
Health Center is now.
Yeah,
It was their admin building,
Yeah.
Okay.
601 West
Fantastic.
Street.
And it's walking distance to the police department. It's, right across the street from, EMS in case they're needed. It's not very far downtown to the courthouse, so it's very well suited, I think, for this position.
And it's more homey, I think, to looking into.
So the grant is to build the building, or is that what?
It's the renovated.
Just
The building's over
renovation.
200 years old. It's just gonna be completely renovated.
Yeah, we just got SHPO approval to make the renovations too, so the city.
How big a grant we
they-
talking about?
How big?
Yeah.
500,000 plus local match, so it's like an $800,000 project without the purchase of the building, so. And they got a good deal on the purchase price too, actually,
Yeah, I
so.
think it's important that you guys know that we're not asking you guys for any
No money.
financial responsibility or anything here. It's simply Okra required us to come and make sure you understood what we were doing because we also service Scott County.
And again, we wanna thank you for starting the
Oh my gosh,
momentum
yes,
for
thank you.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you did, you even motivated our own county to get involved, so thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So, I guess what, we need a motion to accept this, or to sign this,
I'll make a motion to sign the grant,
it's a cooperation agreement.
cooperation agreement.
So. John makes a motion. John makes a motion to, allow, to sign for the cooperation agreement. Randy seconds that. I'll make that unanimous, so.
And that switches the agent for application from the city of Madison to the county of Jefferson.
Yes, and I can email
Yes,
this to you tomorrow, is that okay?
That's perfect.
That's all I'm having to do.
Okay.
Most they would just thank you all.
Yeah, thank you guys so much, yes.
It's more than wonderful what you've done.
Well, I
Thank
don't
you.
know how you guys do what you do, so.
Since it is.
We burned a lot of gas.
Is it, you have a
Comments, yes,
requirement?
is it, yeah,
So-
is there any comments? Yes, thank you.
Does anybody have any comments relative to anything for this public hearing? Alright. We'll probably close the
Thank you
public
so much.
hearing.
Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah, I close that part of
Thank you.
this, the public meeting on the hearing for the Orca grant, so, I don't know.
Thank you.
Good
fun.
again.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
You too.
Pleasure.
And
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Really grant is gonna be funded,
That's not me.
probably a lot bigger than that.
Will be funded to us,
Yeah,
that's what we want.
do you want a copy of the sign
submit
sheet
your
too, or
application.
anything, or?
Yes, you're ready.
Okay, but I'll send, make you,
We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
I'll see you next, I'll see you
And I'll be
next.
here next
You okay with
Tuesday
meeting across
for the second one.
Across the grant?
Yeah, well, not, we didn't apply this year, we'll apply for next year, so.
And then
All right.
we can get signatures
Thank you.
maybe, so, okay, that's what I was worried about. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank
If you need
you.
some attendees, you can always ask me.
I don't think,
Oh, that would be great, yes, okay, maybe I'll bring cookies.
We have a whole home week here or something, what's going on?
Yeah, I can do that, thank you, yes, yes.
all right, second thing up here is 17 Indiana update, Wendy Chesser,
That doesn't
Not
look
like
like
Wendy, I
Wendy.
don't
I was gonna say,
Right,
but I remember you being here with her last time though.
actually, that was Rennie, a colleague on the team. I'm a newer face.
You're a newer
Yeah, I'm a
face.
newer face.
Okay. Good deal.
Wendy sends her regards. She got ill and had to miss events to ribbon cuttings and everything today, so,
Uh-oh, so you are?
My name is John Lonis, and I'm the Vice President of Economic Development for One Southern Indiana. I joined the team in October, coming from Ivy Tech Community College, where I've been the past few years, running their foundation office as well as their workforce services. And then prior to that, I was the Director of Regional Economic Development for the Greater Louisville Regional Partnership, which is a 15-county bi-state economic development group to drive investment into the market. So had the opportunity to work with a number of folks throughout the region in that capacity, but excited to be in this.
That can open doors.
Well, excited to be here today to, I think, follow up from what was a less regular update to try to get into a more kind of formal quarterly cadence. So prepared a quick update folder, there you go, for each of you. Let's go down this way as well, Clyde.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
So, what I just really wanted to cover really quickly, was kind of some of the activity, within this past quarter. So on the right, you'll see the green, form there. That just kind of lists activity throughout, the past, several months. What I would note is that in, the last quarter, we have had 10 projects specifically that had, Scott County product, real estate, inputted into that was submitted for potential investment opportunities. From that, we did garner 3 site visits. I want to kind of dig into a couple of those particularly today, but we've been really pleased with the amount of interest and activity in our short time promoting Scott County. One of the projects actually just came in for a site visit this past week, or this week. It was a Japanese company. They brought in a delegation of 7. We've been working with them for a little bit, showed them the Smith Farm. They came out to kick some dirt. Really wasn't impressed with the community presence. Had a lot of attendance at that from utility partners to the mayor's office. That was pretty impressive, particularly for an international company. The site showed really well. We're excited for some continued follow-up on that. And then the most exciting news was Project GIB, which you guys would know as GIM, which was recently announced there in mid-November, which is just over an $18 million capital investment into the old Tecumseh plant. So that's going to bring right at 135 jobs brought in over, I think, mapped out till 2025, so they're going to phase in. Those are paying above the county average wage at $35 an hour, so very excited about that. And the IEDC, the state did put together a pretty competitive incentive plan, and the city of Scottsburg also came to the table with a competitive incentive plan, which absolutely got the deal done. If I can, I did include a press release for the company in there, but we'll just take a minute maybe to give you a little high-level background on the company. We got a really unique product that they're bringing. This is their first U.S. operation for this technology. They are partnering with a U.S. company that is GIM. But this sandwich plate system technology is a new way for high integrity material, essentially built through steel plates with a rosin inserted in between, which brings structural integrity, more integrity than concrete, with quite a bit less weight. And so their product, and this is already being utilized internationally, is the ability to build bridges, parking garages, hospitals, essentially almost in a tilt-up style when you think about those tilt-up buildings where you can build it off-site and then bring it in. So these plates would actually be manufactured here in Scott County, particularly for infrastructure projects, both environmentally more sound, but the real advantage is time. They're able to construct bridges in 6 to 12 months. So when you think about congestion mitigation, one of the issues is with most large infrastructure projects like that, they do require American-made steel products. So operating this location here will be their first U.S. Production facility. So they're pretty excited about the project, and so
Sounds like it.
Very high level, quick overview. I don't want to talk too long, but would be happy and open to answer any questions about our partnership or any of the recent activity.
Well, actually, I know Randy brought it up, but, and you've got exactly what I think we've asked for with who's contacting and who's interested, who's not. And I mean, the end result is always, why not? I mean, you always want to know what they didn't like, and in that sense, you could, change, direction of what we can set up for somebody that's, would look in the future. So, I know, Wendy said before that it's kind of hard for somebody, for you guys to get that information, because they usually they're looking at 10 sites or something and they don't tell why they don't pick any other site. They just, you really don't hear from them after that, so. But this is exactly what I think we were looking for as far as, hey, what kind of interest are we getting in the area? And for me, I think that's great. I mean, I think this plant here is great. It's a plant that's been sitting empty for years, and it needs to be revitalized. So, anybody else?
Maybe the only insight I would offer is that I think Wendy's absolutely right. We call it ghosted. When, they just don't call you back. So absolutely that happens a lot. I always like to remind myself and others, because sometimes you take this work personal, because you spend so much time and energy building relationships or doing research and hosting these folks in your community in a really authentic way. I'm reminded that these decisions are very personal and very complex, and not to maybe oversimplify some of the dynamics of where their suppliers or vendors or raw materials are coming in from. There are dynamics outside of a community's control. That said, there are dynamics inside of a community's control, and if I were going to consolidate those dynamics, would be into site readiness, right? Site identification, kind of knowing what your product is, whether it's a piece of land or a building, and then the other piece, Steve mentioned the quality of place, just making sure that when you bring an investor in, a lot of times it's him thinking about his workers, his families. He's going to be able to attract the families and maintain them in the community. Well, so quality of place does matter.
It does. I mean, I know years ago, they look at the school systems and know, hey, what kind of education is my child going to get, and then, what sports do they have here, or clubs or whatever. So yeah, the families sure are a draw.
Well, I'll throw a pitch for Mid-America Science Park while I'm here. I'm a big fan that there's a lot of runway for that facility to be maximized, and we talked a little bit about that in my role at Ivy Tech. In my final months, we hired a young man to work out of there. Really sharp guy that is already having some conversations, some success at trying to generate some more high school and Ivy Tech activity out there in that plan as well. So
yeah, I'd like to see that do that too. So, John, Randy, you got anything?
I appreciate you bringing this into us and giving it to us, and that's exactly what we was kind of wanting.
Thank you.
All right.
look forward to seeing you guys in a couple months.
Appreciate it.
Yep. You gotta come around.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice to meet you all.
You too.
Yep, very much.
All right. Looks like the clerk's office. Probably gonna do something bad. No.
Okay, thanks for your time. Which one do you wanna go over first?
Let's go with whatever's easy.
Vote machines. And that is in the packet that I gave you. So I received an email from the state on Thursday, new what they call vote booths. You have a picture there, will be delivered in January, no later than February, so that means I have to have some kind of space to store these. And I know that we've had individual conversations of where we're going to do that. There's the option of that hallway closet, cleaning that all out and getting that cleaned out so that we can store stuff there. There is a few things that has to be done. It has to be cleaned out. It has to have an extra deadbolt put on it. But getting that done. But the main thing that we have to talk about is the disposal of the old machine booths, which is what we have in our closet. The state does not cover the cost of that. So we have to cover that. So I just need to know how you all.
How do you dispose of them? I'm just curious.
So I actually called Microvote today, and so there might be the option of Microvote taking them and actually just disposing them, taking them up to a recycling center up in Indianapolis, and then like chopping them up into like mulch doing purpose things for like playgrounds or things like that. But no matter how we dispose of them, if we decide to dispose of them or if Microvote decides to dispose of them, that is on the county's cost.
So we know what, I mean, I guess,
We do not know the cost of that yet.
Well, I didn't know if there was like a specific way of doing it or something. I didn't know if there was information in those things that were
No, so this is,
sensitive.
no, these are just the boxes. These are, so if you,
Yeah, we could dispose of them pretty easy, I
yeah,
think.
we got a dozer we can run over, don't we?
so it's gonna be, it's just, what is gonna be disposed is just the outer carrier of,
So you're talking the carrying case, not
yes,
the
there's
mechanics.
not the mechanics, the machines, what they call the DERs, those are staying and those are going into the new cases. It is literally just the old cases of the 20 VV-Pats that we have and the 70 vote machines that we have that we will have to dispose
Can we
of.
not just take, they're plastic, aren't they?
They are plastic.
Why can't we just take them to recycle?
Well, there's some metal, there are some metals. We can.
Can they be repurposed?
I don't know how to repurpose them.
I mean, I'm like,
a gun case or something.
well, no, I'm wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if it's something that maybe we could maybe give to the school for to hold sports equipment or something like
No,
that.
these are specifically designed to hold that machine only.
So they're
So
like
we
that?
gotta get rid of them.
So if you take off the end part of that machine where there's like the printer, if you take off this end part right here, that's exactly what we have. And so, but they are not,
So
they're,
it's a plastic
it's a plastic
boxes.
box with legs that attach to it, and it has plastic curtains that show, when you go vote, it's those those boxes that they
My question is, and I don't understand, it's not a criticism, is the state making us change these, or is this just,
the state is mandating that we do the VV-Pats, which are the electronic recording machines.
okay,
And the state is covering the cost to keep the VV-Pat with the DRE, or what is the vote machine. And so they are covering the cost for new cases so that those stay together. Because
Okay.
once a VV-Pat is registered to a machine during that election, it will stay with that machine. So
Okay.
this election, if you did early voting, I don't know if you guys did early voting,
no.
we had to set them up with the machine, and we literally was constantly taking two machines out of a case and putting it together. So this is going to make it a convenience thing for poll workers. And the state is covering this other than the disposal of the old machines, or the old cases.
I'd say if somebody didn't want them, I'd take them to recycle.
Yeah, so Microvote can do that for us, or we can do it ourselves. They're not charging extra, they're literally charging what's the cost of it is. They'll be here with a semi, bringing all the new machines in, and then if we want them, we can have them take them out, or we dispose of them ourselves.
I'm concerned, whatever you wanna do with them,
I'd say take them over to Baldwin's
yeah.
and say here they are.
Okay,
What do you think?
That's what I think.
What's that now?
I said, I'd just soon take them over to Baldwin's over here to recycle and let them have
I
them.
don't care.
Or take them out to the landfill to this recycle out there.
I think we ought to give her, I mean, I'm for giving her leeway, do whatever she thinks is right,
I
make it easier on
I
her.
wouldn't incur any costs, so.
Yeah.
will Baldwin's charge us to recycle?
Get a
Well, they
hold of
want it to
Get a
land.
hold of, take them out of the box, call Josh, tell him take them either there or outside.
Well, there's no chance, there's no charge at landfill, I don't think, anyway.
I don't think Baldwin charges anything, usually they give you something.
Okay, I will reach out, if there is charge, then do you want me to come back?
Yeah, but I don't see it being a charge.
Okay. So then am I good to tell them that we are prepared to accept all of these machines in January?
I'd say so.
Yeah,
Okay, so we'll get with Josh and make sure that the rooms are cleaned out and organized so that, okay, perfect. Second on agenda is then the vote center. So we, had a meeting, in November, the election board did, and with both parties. The election board has decided that we want to come to the commissioners and to the council and start discussing moving our county into vote centers.
What would that look like?
So the way it happens is there are steps and processes of how to do that. The first step is meeting with you all as the commissioners and with the council and getting the how, do we say the approval, like what?
There's, you have to consider a resolution in front of the fiscal body and the commissioners, to basically gauge interest in the idea of the vote center, or is your question more to what would the vote centers themselves actually look like in terms of?
Well, I mean, I guess where I'm looking at now is that we have Vienna, Lexington, Johnson, all, 2 schools in Austin, 2 schools in Scottsburg, which I think we can combine those. So what would be the makeup? I mean, would you
So
go
that
to,
is,
or is that something that's down the road that is decided?
So as the election board and the party chairs, we have discussed on what we think is gonna be the general idea, and I have a board member and a party chair here. We're looking at probably 2 to 3 centers. Obviously for the municipals, there would just be 2 centers. There'd be the Austin High School and then there'd be the Scottsburg High School. And then for midterm and for what I call presidentials, we're looking at 3 vote centers. The 2 high schools and possibly, Lexington, thank you, Lexington Elementary, out there. According to state statute, we have to have 1 vote center per 10,000 voters.
and that's a minimum,
That's a minimum. So, I mean,
and it's per active
yes,
voter, which is a different.
yes. So, I mean, by state standards, we just have to have 1 vote center. Obviously, I do not think that would be a good idea.
I wouldn't be for that.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not for that. I think we at least have to have 2 with
Because
the possibility of 3.
Because you're bringing this up and people will watch us and get wigged out about, oh, they're limiting our votes or our chance to go vote. But in turn, what this actually does is that if to my knowledge, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, if, for instance, you work at Morgan's Food on election day and you want to go vote, but you live in Lexington Township, you don't have to bust your tail to Lexington Township. You can go to the Austin school and vote in your township at that school, correct?
Yes. So what vote centers are, is we will still have early voting here at the courthouse like we've always had. So the first 28 days of election, the first 28 days before election day, you can vote here at the courthouse like normal. Vote centers is, you can vote at any vote center in your county. We have right now precinct voting. So I live in Austin. I have to vote at my precinct voting. Vote centers is if you, just like you said, if you work at Morgan's on your lunch break, you want to vote, you literally can go to Austin and vote even though your precinct is Lexington. You do not have to go to Lexington and vote. You can do the same at Scottsburg. Say you live in Austin and you work at Multicolor or Pepsi or Samtec. You literally can come to the Scottsburg High School and vote even though you are not in those precincts of where they're at.
So it's actually opening up more possibilities or avenues for you to vote.
Yes, you are not, yes.
And you wouldn't get that person that goes, well, I moved and I don't know what precinct I live in now, so I don't know where to go vote, or you go vote and you're not on the register there. No matter where you go, you're gonna be on the register.
You are absolutely on the register.
Okay.
And I will say that I've now done 2 elections for the county, and we have, I'm gonna say, a minimum of 100 to 200 calls a day saying they're at the wrong precinct, where do I need to send them? And when I ask for the names, like to look them up, I cannot guarantee that they went from where they were to where they were supposed to be to vote. And I feel like that is the opportunity of us losing votes for our county.
Yeah.
So no matter where you live in the county, you can vote at any of the vote centers. Vote centers is gonna be set up just like early
The
voting.
same thing if you have one out in the county,
Yep.
if you have a third one. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the other problem is that, and I know since COVID, everybody's struggled to get poll workers.
Yes.
You'll still need a lot of poll workers, but
Yes, and I have that.
there'll be a reduction.
I have that in front of you. So current cost per precinct, give or take a few, is $2,500 per precinct. So 6 precincts times 2,500, it's $15,000 per election. And that is just our poll workers That is their poll workers' pay, that is their meal, that is their poll worker training, that's mileage. And, every year we have to do like restock supplies, like paper, hand sanitizer, things that need to go into those precincts. So, give or take a few, it's $2,500, so it's $15,000 per election as of right now, the way it's set up. With that, we have six precincts that are voted at with 7 poll workers each. That's 42 poll workers that we have to have every election. That is the minimum we have to run. That's no backups, that's just the minimum. That's 1 inspector, 2 judges, and 4 clerks. That's what we currently.
Per precinct.
Per precinct.
Yeah.
Which is 6 in the county, or what we call voting precincts. Going to a vote center, it would cost us $4,000 a vote center. During municipal and midterms, depending if we decide to do 2 or 3, it would be $8,000. If we do 3, I feel very adamant that during presidential elections we have to have three vote centers. It would be $12,000. The average poll worker is 26 for 2 vote centers, 39 for 3 vote centers. So even going to vote centers, whether we do 3 in every election, it's still saving the county $3,000.
Well, I just wanna make sure that if, and it's usually on presidential elections, that there's a heavy turnout, but I mean.
Yes, that's why I said the presidential would have to have 30.
You know, cause people, I don't wanna see a bunch of long lines of people waiting and they're on their lunch break and they gotta go back to work.
Yes.
So if we're doing this, I wanna make sure that it's gonna flow.
Yes, and so as of right now, how I have it set up, like I said, at the election board, we were talking with the parties. We have 1 inspector, which that's always state required, is that you have 1 inspector, and that inspector is determined whether they're Democrat or Republican, by who won Secretary of State. But I would have at our our voting centers, I would have 8 judges and 4 clerks. That means there are two people per 1 clerk to take to the machines to vote. With us combining the middle schools and the high schools, I kind of felt like this was a really good test run to see, because those are our biggest precincts, how it worked. And the 4 clerks worked great, but what didn't work, or what caused lines and backup was what we call the judges. So I feel like if we have 2 judges per clerk, because it doesn't take that long to check them in, but what takes longer is getting them to the vote machines, getting them explain, this is what the steps are. Having 2 judges per clerk, and then having them on set machines would really eliminate that
Okay.
traffic jam.
So, go ahead. John, you got any questions?
No, I think it's a good
Randy,
idea.
you got any questions?
I will say the good thing about vote centers though is, say you guys do vote on this and the council does vote on this, and we come up with our plan and we have this set up for the municipal. The good thing about this is we can always do amendments. So if the municipal comes and we're like, okay, we need 6 clerks and 10 judges, we just have to do an amendment. That way we know that the presidential will just run smoother. If we get it to where we have 3 vote centers and we see that there's a huge influx of more voters and we're like, okay, we need to do a 4th one,
Yeah.
you would just do an amendment. It's very easy to do those amendments.
And that's approved by the state, correct?
Actually, the election board itself does the amendments and files those with the state.
But the state approves it.
The state accepts the filing as long as it's within the guidelines for the vote center, and those can be done, sometimes, days before, if there's some kind of like catastrophic event, for instance, you can alter the plan for a limited period to, make those changes as necessary. At this point, you guys are only addressing the resolution, which is really, to gauge interest. This is just the first step, at the kind of the executive levels of government. As they move through each of the other individual steps, there will be opportunities for public comments. A draft plan will be created, and the community will be able to submit written comments. there will be a public hearing before anything is adopted, and there can be amendments to the draft plan after the public hearing and prior to adoption. But this resolution will effectively be the end of like commissioner level involvement in the decision-making process, and even going forward to, any amendments that need to occur in the future. It's effectively kind of delegating that authority down to the election board, but obviously those are open meetings and everyone can attend to kind of voice input at any given point. But I think one thing was that we wanted to have some members from the board and some of the members from the political parties here to make sure that, because it is kind of like, this is supposed to be a community decision from top to bottom.
What's not political?
Yeah, and make sure everybody, wants this before you move to these other steps.
And I will say, the parties came to me and asked me what I thought about this, and said they are very interested in it, because and a lot of people don't know this, but your party chairs are the ones that actually find your poll workers until a certain deadline, and then once that deadline is passed, then that responsibility is turned over to me, and then I have to find the missing gaps. And both party chairs have come to me and said, it's just getting harder and harder to do these things. And there was a study, and I'm sorry I don't remember the exact date, that Indiana did addressing counties that would gain from becoming a vote center. And Scott County, I think, was 4th on the list.
What do you mean by gain? Gain what?
It would help save the county money. It would probably streamline the voting processes along those lines. And it's a whole report that's with the Secretary of State that they have done. It's a public document that could be on there.
And that draft plan, so like in terms of deciding 2 or 3 vote centers, I think to address one of the concerns that people might have if they don't understand exactly what we mean, you want to have enough voters despite the minimum requirements that the statute requires to make sure that somebody's not having to drive across county to get to a designated vote center. They're equidistant, from places that give everybody an opportunity and actually increase accessibility to the voting process rather than decrease. So that's the goal.
And like I said, in precincts voting, we have to, by state, only have so many precinct workers, either by precinct or by precinct voting. So our current situation is, so we have 6 places right now in the county that you can vote. And the options that we have is we can have 7 poll workers, or if there's 5 precincts in one place that we vote, we can have, if there's 5 times 5, 25 poll workers. There's no, let's do like 8 judges, 4 clerks. It is set that we have to have either 7 poll workers or 25, which is 5 per precinct. And so if you're looking at Lexington, there's 3 in that, so that would be 15 poll workers, or we can have 7, which is fine for Lexington, but when you get into Jennings and Vienna, they're bigger precincts, and so.
21 or 25.
So,
you have to have 2 judges and 2
right,
clerks
2 clerks,
per precinct.
and you can have 2 assistant poll clerks. So it's a set 5, or the election board has to vote to have assistant poll clerks to help, which is what makes it to the 7.
The question I have, and I think you've answered, I just want to clarify it. Both parties, Democrats and Republican, on the election board are for
The Democrat is here,
entertaining this.
and he can answer for that.
Yes.
Okay.
And the Republican Party chair told me he called and spoke to y'all today about that today.
And so at this point, the resolution only needs to be passed by a majority of the board. Obviously, you hope for more than that, but the final plan before it's approved, it has to pass unanimously at the election board. So it requires more than just.
That's what I said, I just don't want people thinking we're doing something.
And I will say this clearly right now, I feel like my job is, as the clerk, is my job is to make sure that every voter has the opportunity to vote. And so to me, this is not a political decision, whether for the Republicans, for the Democrats, the Libertarians. This is not political in any way, fashion, shape, or form. This is trying to make sure that every voter has the opportunity to vote.
Yeah.
And that is my goal.
Well-
That's why I have brought both party chairs, all of that to it.
Well,
I said this has to be a.
The old cliche of, you know, oh, that's the way we've always done it, it's not always a good way to do it,
Yeah,
so.
and as for me, this is the thing is, I will do what the community decides, whether we stay precinct, whether we go to vote centers, that does not matter to
Okay.
me. I will do what we need to do as the clerk to run an election.
Michelle, you've done a good job with this.
Thank you, I really
Well, we've
appreciate
talked
that.
about this for a while, so.
Yeah,
I think
it's been on everybody's mind for a little bit.
it's cleaning it up, that's a good word.
And these resolutions will get
We've
included.
used that before, that didn't work out too.
Yeah, the resolutions will be included in the draft plan. So the first step is getting, your guys' approval and stuff. The second step is we're gonna create a board to start a plan. The third step will be working on that plan and opening a fourth step is going to the community and being like, this is our plan, this is what we are thinking. What do you all think as the community, coming back, tweaking it if we need to tweak it, adjusting it, whatever we need to do. And then the fifth is coming back and telling everybody, well, okay, this is the final plan, and then we will submit to the state.
Who would make up the board?
The election board will decide who makes up the board,
That's what
but,
I'm saying.
yeah. But I'm hoping like some commissioners will volunteer, I'm hoping some county council will volunteer.
So it probably can be like a subcommittee, but if you have more than a majority of any of those elected bodies participate, I mean, the
It can be
statute,
one, right?
says,
One of
statute's
each.
just, the statute on vote centers in terms of approval says that the election board drafts the plan. So, and approves it. So, you may decide that it's in the benefit of getting participation to have some like subcommittees with members from elected bodies, and from this one, you can only have one.
Right, and from
From
council, we can
council.
only have one.
You could have three.
Less than majority.
You could have members from the municipalities, but again, the total number could never exceed more than
Right,
what would be a quorum.
so for me, I think whoever's on that needs to be.
Unless you wanted to post public notice for all those meetings, which maybe you do. But, getting that plan out, still gotta come back to the election board for final.
Yeah.
The thing I heard that I liked was it's changeable. If 3 doesn't work out the way you want, you can amend this to 4.
Yes,
Yeah, and that would
Or
be,
vice versa.
yeah.
If
There's
you got
some-
3 and you say there's no need
There's
for
no
3,
Mhm.
I guess the only question I'd have is about this board is if the election board is going to, dictate the plan, I mean, was there a need for a subcommittee or whatever could the election board just not say, hey, here's options and have public meetings where people have input and stuff and then call it what it is?
that's a good question, I will have to get back to you on that.
So, I mean, I'm just saying that if you guys are the final say, then
I
I
think
understand having public input, but why create a
with,
board
with,
to
so
do
looking over some of the plans that have been submitted, I mean, these are anywhere from 30 to 50 pages. And I think we have to have a board of some sort or a subcommittee of some sort that has helped assemble the plan with the election board, I think.
Well, I'm just,
Yeah, because, you can go to the Secretary of State, and I will email you guys this link, I think I maybe did. Yesterday I emailed you guys the link that has the link you can click on for the Secretary of State that has like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all of those. If I didn't, I will make sure I do that immediately. But the Secretary of State website puts it in there, the Secretary advises to do that, Secretary of State advises to do that, so I think that's probably best
I don't
practice.
have a problem with that, I just.
Those
wonder
are
if
great
you guys-
questions.
If you guys are gonna make the decision, then, when you get more people in a room, you get more
More opinions,
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I get that.
anyway, so you need from us is a consensus or a vote? I assume it's a vote.
It is a vote
Is there
to
a-
pass resolution 2022 RO 13. And you guys will
2022 RO 13? what you said?
Yeah, everybody should have a copy.
We do.
I got one.
I don't know if I misplaced it, cause I was looking at your picture.
With the resolution Zach emailed, to everybody, that's the email I attached to the Secretary of State with.
Okay.
That link.
Well, I'll entertain a motion to, for ordinance number 2022 R013, or R013.
Yeah, so it refers to study committee, so
Yes.
trying to make sure that it's, you know, not necessarily, you know, of every voice,
Subcommittee.
but enough voices from the different kind of community, parties, elected officials, that everybody kind of.
You need a motion.
I'm entertaining a motion to accept the ordinance to, entertain, looking into vote centers, so.
I'll make the motion to approve the designation of Scott County Vote Center County Resolution 013. Approve.
John makes a motion, Randy.
I second that.
Randy will second that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Thank you, gentlemen.
There you go.
That's all I needed.
If everybody can do their signatures,
Got ones that
so
matter.
we can get those, so that they can
Don't use this one?
have
Make sure
those
you do an A side.
copy of the original.
Yeah.
Two sides to everything.
Yes, one is,
I
yes,
want to
one
use
is
the
the-
B side.
A,
Oh.
no, that's an A side.
And then they'll still
It's
have to
A's
go
in
to
it.
council, which council will still have to do their approval and everything,
Yes.
so.
Well, the state still has to approve it, so.
One more thing.
It's not that the state approves, the state will not approve, the state
They just
accepts.
accepts it.
Yes,
So, I mean,
They
I
make
guess
sure
if it's
that-
not, right, they.
yes, if there's
accept it.
something that's,
They do make sure the draft plan meets the
Yeah.
requirements.
yeah,
of the
T's
statute.
aren't crossed, I's aren't dotted, yes.
I'll have the map.
You have to sign it too, I think, on the back.
I did.
Oh,
All right, thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Michelle.
thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, Danny.
Do you want this person?
Hi, Mr. White.
Good evening, how are you guys?
Hi, Michelle.
Good. I just have a couple grant approvals. Tammy, do they have these in their packet?
Maybe.
Okay. So one is for $33,139, the other one is for $17,474.54. These are the grants that we get every year through the State Department of Health. They're actually required by Indiana code to give to every local health department based on population size. They're called the Local Health Maintenance Trust Fund, or Maintenance Fund and Trust Account. And for Randy and Mike, I'll be coming back in January to talk to the board about specifically these funds and some of the plans that the state has this next legislative session on expanding these, hopefully for local health departments.
Hopefully, what?
Hopefully for like all local health departments. They want to expand these funds, increase these funds, and expand what local health departments are doing, so.
You're talking about the states.
More control over the health department, right?
No, they are actually gonna be changing legislation to, Indiana will always be a home rule state, so your commissioners will always have rule over your local health departments. I don't say always, but I don't think that's planning on Indiana's constitution changing, but, the legislation is gonna be hopefully changing on the code that is over these funds.
Well,
There's some other things that are being talked about relative to, like the composition of the boards specifically in terms of like,
Health boards
I don't know. if
and
they're
health
talk-
officers.
Yes, I don't know if they're talking, well, that's right, cause the health, I don't know if they're gonna require a
There's
health officer anymore, but it's gonna be,
There,
you have to go through a separate.
yeah, so there's gonna be a bill, I'll just guess, I'll go through now. There's gonna be a bill that starts in the House and a bill that starts in the Senate. One will be about budgets, one will be about composition of health boards. So obviously, like in really, really rural counties, sometimes it's hard to find a physician to do that health officer or find two physicians that fit on the health board. So they're looking at possibly, okay, can a nurse practitioner be, or a PA, physician's assistant be, fill that role? so to try to make it a little bit easier. And then they're also talking about expanding the health board to where you're required to have your largest city appoint someone to your health board, which for us, it doesn't really necessarily make a big difference. But I can see where bigger counties where, you know, if you just have everyone from one area of the county, that doesn't really represent your county well. But
we don't know yet whether that would mean like expanding the total number on the board or, you know, however that would be
taking a
done.
seat from you guys,
But
yeah.
those are still just discussions that they're considering.
What I'm
So, no, that's it.
Yeah.
I was, what I was looking at was, they were talking about how the state needs to put more money into the Indiana Health.
Yes.
So that's what I thought you were talking about.
Yes, they
They're
are.
also talking about the way grants are done, which I think is what you're getting at, is like, right now, there's a bunch of different grants, and it's a lot to manage in terms of which grant can be used for which type of fund. There's some discussion about whether or not they're going to kind of have a block grant, basically, that you get every single year that opens up kind of the uses and allows for less time spent on administering those.
Correct.
So
Yes.
those are things that are being discussed.
Yes. Like one of these grants you can use, they have to be used for like, you know, you have to do a position, you can only do X, Y, and Z with it. The other one's like kind of, you know, you can only do X, Y, and Z with it. So then they're hopefully going to combine them both. And the state's looking at improving, basically going from $55 per person spent on public health to $91, or closing that gap. So trying to give about $280 million to public health, starting in 2024.
And to a certain degree, that opening kind of actually allows the local bodies a little bit more control and flexibility in terms of coming up with solutions that work in your county, your area, versus kind of a statewide plan that you must conform to every single county.
I guess what I was talking to the lawmakers right now are drafting bills at this moment, discussing what I was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, session starts, what, January 3rd or, so, yes. The state's been, I don't know if you guys have sat in any meetings where they've talked about any of this. I know other people have and have asked me about it. Obviously nothing's gonna start, like I said, until January, but, the state's given us health department administrators tools to give to the commissioners, because obviously step one is if your commissioners aren't gonna opt into, doing X, Y, and Z with that these new bills are gonna require, then you're kind of just dead in the water. So, we'll still always get this 50,000. It's not a bad thing.
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's providing your community more services. It's putting a lot more work on health departments. Like one of the requirements is that you have to have a full-time public health nurse. Because some counties that are really small, their public health nurse could also be their administrator or vital records clerk. And it's like, if you really want to make an impact, and because the real reason is that Indiana is 2 years behind on life expectancy for the whole United States. So if you live in Indiana, you're going to lose 2 years of your life, because Indiana's, and it's already, being in this job, and it's only decreasing. So they're trying to figure out how to help Hoosiers live longer. And sometimes it takes money to do that, so.
I get that.
Well, the longer we live, the more we can pay taxes.
Well, I mean, I think they're already paying taxes, so maybe we'll just get some of it back.
So what do you need from us?
I just need you guys to approve these grants, hopefully. It's no match,
It's
we
the
do it every
normal
year.
ones we do at
Yes.
the end of the year anyway. so.
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to approve both the grant applications, for the health department. One in the amount of $33,139, and the other one in the amount of $17,474.54. These are annual grants that we apply for and have already received, so.
I'll make the motion.
John makes a motion, Randy.
I'll second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. So can I sign one of these, or you got?
Please, sign both those and.
And then I'll give that
take
to you
them
for council.
And if you don't mind, just give them back to Michelle, so that way she can bring them to council, if you wanna do that.
Yeah, I can bring them to council.
It's actually,
The 21st, yes, Teresa told me that. It's the last Wednesday.
I can-
Today's
I
Pearl
can just
Harbor
switch 'em.
Day.
I can just put them there, cause I've got
Okay.
something else for them too.
That's
I
fine,
don't
too.
know, honey. That's fine.
John, isn't today Pearl Harbor Day?
Yes, it is, sir.
Do you guys have anything else for me? That was all I had on my to-do.
How's your, ceiling?
Good.
Did it all work out?
That worked out good. There was I wanted him to add some arrows down at the end on that north entrance. So he came right over and did it. So yeah,
Good.
perfect.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Kevin. I'll get you to go someplace Friday night.
Yeah.
Will we quick sign that or
Not yet.
not yet?
No, it's,
Okay.
hadn't come up yet.
Alright, I'm just gonna bring the mowers to our attention again, since it's, late December. Talking to several of the vendors, there's gonna be a 20% increase on raw materials, so whatever something's costing you today is only 20% when the 23 comes out, so, anyway, I guess I've talked to you about it several times, the mowing needs and the equipment needs, but
So do we,
this is the piece of equipment that I advised. I brought 3 different quotes of similar pieces of equipment that do similar things, made by 3 different manufacturers. I guess the selling point for me on that one is it can actually double pass at the same time. So it's almost a 2-for-1, I guess, for lack of better words.
so the mower on the back of this, is it a bush, or is that a brush cutter, or is
It can
that-
be a brush cutter and it can mow. So they can actually mow it in tandem, I guess, if that's how you wanna word it. So like on slab roads or Little Yorks or somewhere where it's wider, you can actually double mow with 1 pass.
It's got the bat wing with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost 2, I would say 2 for the price of 1, but kind of.
Yeah.
You probably see on there, I put and actually, they're still available, what the 2022 prices are gonna be compared to the 23, so it's like $36,000 difference because of the raw material influx of the new machinery's coming out, but
So are these available?
there wasn't, they was, and that's why I'm bringing it back up. It's just something that we're going, I guess if you're gonna go with it, you need to go with it, because if you wait 2 months, it's gonna cost a lot more money, or you need to look at it, I guess.
The other question I have is that, if you, the mowing equipment we have now, the John Deere, is it junk?
It is running.
I didn't say that. I said,
Well,
is it junk?
I got a
Do
little
we-
car it's running.
Do we have one viable tractor mower?
No, not actually a mower. You have one good brush hog.
And is that the,
Yeah.
That's the Massey. No, the Challenger is a good tractor, but the actual mower on the side of it, brush hog on the side of it, we specify that right, isn't worth a quarter.
so if can we take something off the other one and make that a good?
Yeah, so here would be my thought. Since we invested so much money into the John Deere this year, just go ahead and keep it around instead of selling it, cause we could always use it to maybe pull the drag. We're gonna test that out, be it a 2-wheel drive. Or we could use it for the bush hog for landfill or, the county property we own over by trial. Since we put $10,000 in it.
Which we're gonna get out of this.
Yeah, it's gonna be a wash. If it tears up, then we can sell it. You know, we might as well try to get our money back out of it and use it for a while, because I don't think we're gonna get a lot of money out of it. The 1989 tractor, I would say go ahead and let it go. It's the old military tractor.
Yeah.
It's got some clutch issues and the mower on the side of it's done, so I would probably sell it. So the Challenger, one thought process that we were talking about is putting an actual side mount mower on it, which is roughly gonna cost $20,000. Now, it's a good tractor. It's got 2,000 hours on it. Tractor itself's not a bad tractor. It's the attachment on the side of it that's not good. That's why.
But we can make it a good.
But we can make it a good tractor by adding that to it. Or another possibility would be running the at least for a while. You know, we could always run the mower that's on the back of the John Deere on the back of it to get us by if we had to.
Alright, I'm gonna ask you a question. What are your exact needs? Cause right now, do we have 2 brush cutters and 2? What we were set up before was 2 mowers and 2 brush cutters?
Right now, exactly right now, you have 1 brush cutter running. And you have the John Deere with a mower on it.
So we have 1 of each.
1 of each. And the John Deere is, I wouldn't guarantee you a full day. But it might run for 2 years. But going by what's been going on with it.
Well, it was down for a year, so.
Yeah. Which John Deere did send us out a major apology for that.
Backing up to this,
Which helps a lot.
Yeah.
backing up to this one machine you're looking at here.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tires on there. The one that I saw in Alabama actually had low profile tires, and they were almost like turf
skid loader tires.
Almost like turf tires. I mean, is there
that may have been a Mower Max, as far as I'm aware of.
That is the name.
Okay, so here's you see the price on a Mower Max. Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally think the Savage is more dual purpose. They're both good machines.
I get that, but if this is a dual capacity, I think.
And the front of the
229.
the front of that mower has the capability of running any kind of skid loader attachment. So we can run a milling head. It can.
I'm looking at this thing. Will this rotate around to the other side?
Jefferson County actually has a little older model that I went up and seen and talked to their mechanics about it. So when they first got it, they had a few quirks, but after that, they hadn't had no problems out of it. They have a dishing attachment for theirs too. I'm not sure that we're almost too populated for it here, because it just throws it up in the woods.
Yeah, it does, it throws it.
You see that thing outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In their county, it works.
I can see what you're saying, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you send him anything about.
It just spun it out.
Yeah, that's what it does, I
Just
mean,
throwing it.
you would hate to be the guy out there trying to get his mail and get hit by that.
Well, but you also hate to have a guy that's got a manicured lawn and you're throwing it.
It has this territory that Scott County's probably not it, you know.
Well,
But anyway, I guess I just wanted to bring that to your attention that if we're going to make that move towards one, it's going to cost more money if we wait. And as
so
far as
if we get something for the end of the year, would they guarantee the price?
I could talk to him about it, but I mean, I can't really lock anything down till
I get that.
we're there, you know. He had 2 left of the 22 models. Whether he still has them or not, we'll see.
Alright.
You don't need anything from this night, just information, or go ahead, look into it, or.
I mean, I'd like to see you bring it to a vote to say, let's move to the next step with it. Or if you don't want to, I laid out what we have. And I think it's probably pretty important to the county. Probably one of the most important things of the county
So
is
if we
mowing.
vote to proceed with it, what's the next step?
Goes to council.
Goes to the council.
I'm okay with it. How many talking about, where are they gonna pay for it from, you know?
Well,
Are we talking ARP or what are we talking?
I guess I need the machine. That's what I would say, but I mean, if there's other
I
bond
think that's the only place
situations,
there
or,
is, but I didn't know if
you know, if there's other situations that they can do and,
can we do it tonight or is it something?
I'm fine with it.
I'll make a motion to it then.
I just, where I was asking that question was, is if we had that one with low hours on it, if we can modify it to put another side mower on it, then we would have two good mowers and a third maybe mower.
yeah, that's fair to say.
And actually with this one here, it actually looks like it would, I'm gonna say that it may speed up that mowing process, from the looks of it. I mean.
It's gotta be better.
You know, I guess in my mind.
I still got people wanting
Yeah,
to mow it.
We'll see how everything kind of pans out over the next couple months, but, you know, my process is if we got that machine, I could possibly open up another position and make that a position where that machine and that particular operator runs with it year round. I think that would be a good goal.
Like I said, I'm ready to vote on it, if you guys want to.
We got some doing to
Tell me
get that
we'll go
done,
with
but
it.
All you gotta do is tell us no.
all I got's
I made most.
the side mount, all I got's a
What
vertical
is
on
it?
it. Or
What
a
is,
text
what
on it.
model is it?
It's gonna be right around 20,000 to do it. I'm waiting some other bids, cause there's a lot of things to change around there to make that work, but.
Okay.
I'll actually need that back so I can I only know what it is myself. It's called a certain thing. What is it called?
Savage.
Savage.
Savage,
I'm gonna say combination mower.
combo mower, is that
Yeah.
what you said?
And as far as the Challenger goes.
What is that? 188 what?
Are you wanting to add the $9,400 to that?
That is with the 9,400 on it, the 188, whatever it is.
188,900,
The Jefferson County's got,
188,900.
Jefferson
I'll pass
County's
this back
got
to you.
one now, and what, they got
Okay.
two, they're looking at buying two more? Or
No, there was some other counties that bought 2 more, I think it was Brown County.
All right.
Buying 2 more.
Well,
Jack-
John's
or Jefferson's looking to find another.
Yeah.
John's made a motion to purchase, have the commissioners purchase a Savage combination mower for $188,900. It's a 2022 Savage with two mower heads on it, a front mower head and a rear mower head. So, money to be taken from AARP, so that's not right, ARPA, APRA. So Johns makes a motion, Randy,
Second.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, and I will, again, attach that with the increase for January 1 going to 37,800 more dollars, I'm saying we're saving some money.
But we're only gonna have one operator in it, right?
That's the direction I'd like to go to with it. Now, we're not set up for that now. I guess I'd like to see what transfer station does, what we do with labor, how everything switches around.
Yeah.
And where we're at here in the next couple months.
Well,
We're like I
coming
said,
down that
and I'll have to talk to council. I did give up a person for mechanic bump. So, if there ends up being other people around, however it goes down, maybe we can make this decision. That's what I'd like to do.
all right,
That's the direction I'd like.
thanks, sir,
to take.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, sir.
How's John?
I don't think you mean that. I don't, just that look on your face.
See, Bob, hey, good Christmas.
I'll be here before that.
Okay,
Thank you for the chocolate.
see you, son. Did you save any money on paper? Just asking if you can save some money on paper.
No. Would you like a copy? Do you want one, or you got enough papers in front of you, sir? Get a copy. Okay, cool. All right. Good evening. I got a lot to talk about, so. First things first is financials, as always. We finished November with just shy of 120,000. Puts our year-to-date at 1.44 million. We're up 11% on revenue. Our runs are at 4,274, which is down 9% on runs. So down 9% on runs, up 11% on revenue. So that's year-to-date. Paramedic programs at just over 35,000, trainings over 26,000, and then our normal income's over 1.4. Any questions on that?
So.
Yeah, explain, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, John.
If the run volume, this is a good thing.
Yep.
The run volume down, how did we go up 11%? That sounds good.
It is good. We're not letting runs sit in the queue, number one. We're rebilling a lot of stuff, and with the process that we've got in place is ensuring we're getting less runs kicked back to begin with, so they don't go into that secondary pool of time where you can start getting deducted for money. Are we collecting 100%? Absolutely not. We never will.
It's not built that way.
I think last year we collected a 42 or 43% of what we billed for. Right now, we're sitting at just shy of 50, which, 6% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you bill almost $3 million for the year, it's quite a bit of money.
Well, that's impressive, thank you.
So today, we're at 4274, round volume?
That is as of, the December 1st, so we're probably just over 43 now. So, yeah,
So
this time last year, we were at 4,600, to give you a snapshot of where we were at.
money, well, you don't have,
Money, we were at 1.2 something,
so we're $200,000 on the,
170 something, yeah.
well, that sounds like a big positive to me.
Depends who you talk to, but I hope so. Number two, I wanna let you know, we'll start off with the really good news first. Our new truck that we got since right before I came here in November, December, whenever I came here, you guys received that new truck that they ordered. That is officially out of service indefinitely. It's got a carrier bearing and a drive shaft issue. That is no fault of ours. It's a part failure from Ford.
So is that still under warranty?
It is under warranty, so it won't cost us anything to fix it. It's the acquisition of said drive shaft. So, just
So is that
Why do we need the truck?
how bad? Real bad, cause don't have a reserve truck now. Cause we're running, this week we ran 4 trucks every day this week.
So the old one's being used?
Old one is in service and in cycle. 2014's running strong. So,
That's good.
but like last night, we could've ran 5 trucks. We had, 11 runs toned within 44 minutes. So, we really could've used that truck, but we're making do. We're just having to respond to runs and start treating until we can get a truck there is kinda what we're doing right now.
If we didn't worry about the warranty and fix the truck on our own, is that a possibility? Get the truck back?
I think it may be a possibility, but I think we'd have to start looking at something like All-Star that could fabricate a drive shaft, build us a drive shaft.
Yeah.
I don't know, I know race car drive,
They used to still do that though. The public, they still do that too, right?
I know drive shafts for a race car aren't cheap, so I would assume drive shafts for a really big vehicle aren't cheap.
We would probably void the warranty if we do our own work on it.
Yeah, I would assume anything in that drive line would then be void. But,
Well, I mean, down with the truck indefinitely, how much warranty has the truck got left on anyways? How many miles is on,
33,000. So
33,000, and probably runs out at 50.
it's a 560. Bumper to bumper is almost done, cause that's a 336, so that's almost done. Drivetrain is
I
560.
think if we need the truck bad enough, I wouldn't worry about the warranty at this point.
I don't know, it depends on how much the cost of, doing the labor and the parts is gonna be.
So I will say the initial conversation we had was with this place in Salem. Thank you, Gilstrap. They don't have anything, Scott County Tire initially diagnosed the problem. Gilstrap, we brought it there for a vibration. They confirmed it was a carrier bearing and drive shaft. Gilstrap also agreed it was a carrier bearing and a drive shaft. They can't do the work because they can't lift it in their building, because the truck's 10.5 feet tall, they don't have a bay that tall. So we are taking it to All-Star Trucking does warranty work for Ford on your larger vehicles as of right now, down in Louisville on the 13th, I believe, don't quote me on that, it's gonna go there, it is, okay, the 13th, just to see because I did pose that question to them, if we get to the point where I can't wait 9 months for a drive shaft, can you build one? And they said, if we can't, someone can. So that is a possibility. I don't know price, we haven't talked it, they're just going to see if there's any subjugated fix they can use to maybe get this through.
What's wrong with the drive shaft?
It's bent. So the carrier bearing failed, and now the drive shaft is no longer straight. Which the failure has been identified on the F550s from Ford, and that's why you can't get them, is because the problem is becoming more prevalent. And just like the fuel pumps that they had on I think the LMM Duramaxes for a while, the CP3s, you couldn't buy one if you had $1 million because they were failing and you couldn't get one. So that's just kind of where we're at.
Well, I mean, I understand.
It still runs, it still moves, it's just not healthy for it, obviously.
I think you need to get a price of, if we wanna void the warranty, I guess get a price of what it would cost us to go in that different route, but I mean, the other thing I'm thinking is that.
There's a lot of expensive parts that connect to that drive shaft that I don't wanna be responsible for though too.
Well,
But we're normally have, the old vehicle, the old ambulance back there sitting, waiting for a run.
Right.
Right now, it's being utilized, so
Correct.
we're just down one.
Yep.
Where we normally would have, we would have had
Two.
four.
Yep. So that's just where we're at. We're making do. Like I said, we're just having to do some runs to where we're there providing care until I can get a transporting unit there. So,
check the Republic also, but not just all.
where are they out of? I don't know that they'll do warranty work, but I can look for the part.
Louisville, yeah.
Louisville, Republic, diesel, trucking,
Republic Welding, isn't it?
welding.
Republic is just diesel.
Okay.
Alright.
It's a gas truck, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, they just make drive shafts and stuff.
Okay.
I mean,
And they're out of Louisville.
yeah.
But again, like you said, just because the drive shaft's out doesn't mean it hadn't tore something else up.
Yeah, so I wanna be,
Another location, Greenwood or something.
alright, so
What
that's
else you
that.
got?
So, first thing on the long list here is fuel contract. You have a copy in front of you that should be your 4th and 5th page in your packet there. That breaks down fuel contract. It has fuel listed at a base of $2.81 with a total of $3.15 after the road tax and all that good jazz. And it has diesel at $3.54, which puts it at $4.10. I put what we're at right now. Right now, we're at 405 for for 87 octane, and we're at 439 for diesel. So it's a 90-cent drop in gasoline, but only a 30 cent drop in diesel. If you would like to do it, you're more than welcome. If you don't, we have far exceeded the contract that we are under for.
So that's what I was gonna ask you. How much did we?
So we're gonna have a bunch left on our contract of diesel. So we'll have to pay the difference on that. We'll just not the whole amount we didn't use, just contract price versus pump price. But we have far exceeded the gasoline that we won't be responsible for anything but what we're paying for right now.
So the gasoline contract we had last year, what was it?
I think it was 10 or 12,000 gallons. So they asked me to make a guess. I said, see where I'm trending and let's go from there. And that's what they did. Like, I know I had like 5,000, I think, on the diesel this year, and we're gonna have one diesel truck, so, which at the time we had two, but we only have one, and with the price of diesel where it was at, I pulled it out of service because gas was 50 cents cheaper.
Yeah.
18,000 gallons.
Yep.
$2.81 per gallon, $3.15 with taxes. We not get reimbursed for those taxes?
We do through Melcon, but it's not, we don't get it
We
off.
don't get it off the top?
No.
Yeah, okay.
So we still don't pay all the taxes, you still have to pay some of the Indiana taxes and like, or road tax, whatever they're called.
It's just the
But but we still get to file with Malcon. I think it's every quarter or every half a year. I don't know how we deal with them.
That's been pretty successful, hasn't it, Malcolm? Saving us some money.
What's going on?
Is it fuel contract? It's in this
Malcon.
packet.
Do you know how often we deal with Malcon? Is it every quarter or every half a year?
They're supposed to, I think, submit quarterly.
So we get a couple $100 back each time, but then we have to pay them half of
We
it,
have a
but
vendor
it's still better than
that's doing
nothing.
tax reimbursement on our.
But this is a copy of the fuel contract. I don't know if you.
I think we lock it in. I mean, I know we.
This is not one though where if tomorrow something cool happens and gas goes to $1 again, we still are gonna be paying that on contract.
This is not one where that's the case?
I'm happy to see.
Which at that time, we can just use our WEX fuel
yeah.
cards and go to the pump. It doesn't avoid us, but then we're still on the hook for that 18,000 gallons of, gasoline.
Well, they're
and
not gonna
2,500.
take it. So, I mean, it's ours to use.
Right, it's just with that, we agreed to purchase that many gallons, and they give us like a 5% buffer within that, cause obviously we're not going to stop right at 18,000 gallons or 2,500
Well, I mean-
gallons, but if we sign a contract for 18,000 and we only get 2,000 gallons, we're gonna owe them some money. But I will say, if you work out the math, if you take this 18,000 and you take this 2,500, it is exactly what my fuel budget is for next year.
I think that's, I mean,
If that's any reassurance. Doesn't mean that but if we use more fuel next year, obviously that means our usage goes up, but that's where we're at, like we have this year.
I'm actually good with this, and
I have the original here, if you guys decided, if not,
willing
then
to gamble the other direction.
gamble what direction?
I'm willing to say the prices are gonna start going down.
From 281?
No, from what we're paying now.
well, the new contract is for $3.15 a gallon, or $2.81 a gallon plus taxes.
When you include the taxes.
Yes.
I'm guessing.
Cause right now we're paying $4.05.
At $3.15 a gallon.
Our
guessing-
current contract price is $4.05 a gallon. But that ends December 31st, correct?
Yes.
Which we've already eclipsed that amount, so that doesn't really matter.
I'm thinking on your thoughts, Randy, the gas is already at $3.15, isn't that right? So maybe it might go less, that's your thoughts?
Yeah,
Well, that's prediction.
So this
It might go
If
less
you
for a
really
couple
want-
months and
If
then go
you
up.
really want my opinion, I think that, fuel prices just kick Democrats are in on the midterm, and I think that, they're gonna start being pressured to go down.
And again, this dollar amount's good till Friday. That doesn't mean that I can get a new fuel contract put in place and bring you a different amount. Could be more, could be less next meeting. I think at some point we need to make the decision to lock in. I'm not saying it needs to be now. I really don't wanna be on a liquid contract where we're paying pump price. Cause that can destroy me like it did this year.
I'm willing to wait. I'd like to see some other numbers, and I'm not saying anything about Premier, I'm just saying some people that are in that business, I'd like to see what they're thinking and forecasting for
I
the
think it's gonna
future.
come real important to the president
But
to get them fuel prices down.
As long as we understand that I've got $65,000 in my fuel budget next year.
I get
I don't
that.
care
know
if we sign a contract or not. I mean, that's your guys' decision.
I get that.
Let's
I know it's a scary.
That's all you wanna spend.
It's like a shell.
I don't want it to be in this year where I'm going back every 2 months.
It's like a shell game. Well, let's push it to the next meeting
Perfectly fine.
and check with them and see if their price or their locked-in price changes.
Perfect.
Alright. What else you got?
Radios are on the agenda, but I don't need to talk to you anything about that, so we'll move on from that. Then there's the medical director MOU. Did you wanna do that after me, or why I'm here? or
Right,
whatever?
that'd be fine now,
Okay.
because I've got about 15 minutes now.
Okay, so we got the medical director MOU for Dr. Hicks. I don't know if any of you guys stay in contact with him. I feel like our
I think
relationship's really good, but you might hear different, but I'm very pleased with the rapport and the open line of communication we have with him. And I urge anybody that has questions about at least our treatment or what we're doing to contact him.
I think he is, I didn't know a whole lot about him. I know he treated my mother one night in the ER. We've had several conversations, around that, around some other stuff, and especially with him taking this on after, Dr. Crosdale, stepped away, but I think he's done an excellent job of maintaining what we have, and I don't know anything negative to even say about the guy,
It's great to work.
I've had some personal deals with him too out there, and he's done great when my deals with him too, so. Yeah, I think it's an easy one.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, well, I'll entertain a motion to continue the MOU with Dr. Hicks for calendar year 2023 for him being the EMA doctor for EMS. So.
And I'll make that motion, but in between that, wasn't there an increase in pay, cause he started out, I'm asking, didn't we start, there was like a small amount increased?
He ended like 3 months of one year, and then the next year he did increase it, and it went from $1,200 and $1,250 a month I think it originally was
Was it
$1,000,
And
and
it
then
went
it
to
went to $1,250.
Okay.
And that's what he's been paid this past year, and it's
And
just the
he's
same.
never asked for, I went to council for a budget increase or anything that I'm aware of, so we'll just get you all to agree to this and we'll get it to him. If he signs it, that's great. If he says he's gotta come back to the table, then I'm sure he'll have a
Yeah, I
conversation.
think
Well, I make the motion to grant the MOU understanding for Dr. Robert Hicks as our EMS medical director.
I second that.
Randy, John makes a motion, Randy seconds that, I'll make that
And
unanimous,
the
so.
president of the board signs it.
I've never seen that, I just
Yeah.
know that he's my go-to, so beyond that, I don't know what it's.
I've
And
heard
you got
nothing but
a
good.
copy of that on New Year's Eve last year.
I did.
Don't wanna do that again.
I think
I
we're very,
appreciate that.
I think we're
Little
very
panic.
lucky, I think we're very lucky the man stepped in when he did.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
he did.
We were in a hole, getting ready to get real deep if he hadn't have.
Well, he
Well,
actually,
before I was here in my capacity of being here, I was already in conversations that I was slightly worried about, so
yeah,
yeah.
No, I'm glad for him.
he made that comment to me that no matter what he has to do, he was not gonna let the EMS service fail, so.
And he held his word.
He did it, so. Anything else?
Yeah, got 2 pages worth. You write anything good about me over there? Alright. There's no Kubota on here, if that's any
Have you
consolation.
got that back now? What's the
Yeah.
deal there?
She
Everything's
runs.
Okay,
She's good.
keeping it inside?
Yep, sure am. No salt. One thing that I'd like to start, I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about things and all that, but one thing I think we need to start considering and looking at, the next 2 pages in your packet are the one that says pen care and says my email up top. I brought these to you from 2 different vendors. And some people are probably gonna stone me for bringing up this conversation, but I'm worried about my department and not your feelings. So,
Thank you.
I think we need to start, considering and looking in the future, of what we're gonna do to get back in the cycle of ambulances. And the reason I'm bringing this up now is because if we ordered one today, the soonest we will receive it is going to be in the middle to end of 2024.
You be a year to 2 years before you receive it?
18 to 24 months
So
is
they
what we're
start
looking
from
at.
ground up and then,
No,
They're
you
just-
just can't get them.
Can't get them. They're not doing demos anymore, they're not doing anything.
You can't get a name.
The demo that you get is how they're doing it, is pretty much, if I wanted to do a demo, I would get with PenCare or Crossroads or whoever you wanna buy it from, and build it to my spec. They would drive it around to a couple different departments, and then they'd get it to me, but that's going to be added on top of the 18 to 24 months that it's going to take to get it, because, you just truck chassis, computer chips, resources, aluminum, magnesium, all the stuff that's in these is just, it is what it is. Piggybacked on top of that, I have not bought an ambulance since I've been here. I did buy, 2 Demirs and a PL.
we have an auction here?
Yeah, I'm practicing. I bought 3 somewhere else, and I knew what the prices were when I bought them there. Not even close to what I've been quoted now. We're talking almost doubled in price. So,
Were they about 350?
yep. 350 to a little bit over 400 if you wanna go type 1. And that's another discussion that if this is something you guys want to entertain, if you wanna stick type 3, which is the front van chassis in the box, or type 1, which is that truck chassis, typically ordered in 4-wheel drive with the bigger box. We have both types right now, it's just, you know.
I just have a question.
Mhm.
I just thought about this. 'Cause
Okay.
and I think they're used more because of, being in a more metropolitan area.
Old ambulances,
I'm talking about the
sprinters,
sprinters.
so that's,
And I
there's,
know they're top heavy and you can roll them pretty quick, but
so here is the thing with sprinters, and I actually have this on my agenda at the end, because that's how much I love it, is I saved it for the end, but, so they're not awful to do transfers out of. They are not practical to do the type of care that we do at this service with our protocol on 911 runs. Those sprinters are segregated to one side of the stretcher, segregated to one side of the box, so you don't have full mobility around the patient. you're separated to one side, you literally cannot, because there's a cabinet there and a wall that the stretcher mounts to, and you don't have the room for equipment. There's actually a grant going on, or may open back up. Dr. Yeazel called me on it last week, I believe, that they're trying to get grants, and Dr. Yeazel said he think we'd be a good qualifier for the area, for them, and I think, you know, to use them as a transfer truck, to have it sitting there ready, and when a truck takes a transfer, they can hop in that one to do 911 out of it. I mean, we just,
like I said, most of the time, you see them in metropolitan areas.
and when you're 2 to 5 minutes away from a hospital and you don't have a whole lot of time to do things, sure, they may make sense. But when you're not 2 to 5 minutes away from a hospital and you're carrying the equipment.
So what's the cost of one of those? You have any idea?
Just shy of 200, 150 to 200, depending on how you order them and, you know, what outfitting you're getting and all of that.
Okay.
And again, those used to be 98 to 110,000, and now they're almost double.
Yeah. Well, everything's double right now.
So, you know, another thing is, so right now, we're currently averaging about 45 to 50,000 miles a year per truck. So, I've got one truck with 72,000 miles on it already. That's the one that they've had the longest. Next
And
truck.
those are hard miles.
Yeah, I mean.
It's not like cruising around town.
No, I mean, that's not going to Clarksville to go to Cheddar's and,
I mean,
you know, go to your families in Louisville and then travel back. That's
45 or 50,000 is
like a police.
I'd say you're on your dead end when you're getting 75 to 100, aren't you?
You can get to 100,000 and then start running to where you're in the shop quite a bit. You know, you start getting oil leaks and main seals and, you know, I mean, cause you gotta think, a lot of our runs, we don't get to sit there and let them warm up for 10 minutes. Granted, they're staying in the bay and all that, but, you know, you get in and you go, and, you know, then you've got idle time on it when you're on scene and all of that, so I mean, you're not driving to church and back in it.
You don't wanna go out in the bay and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you want to run.
So, you know, the next, like I said, there were 72, then we've got one in the 58 range. There's one truck that is out of service, the carrier bearing's at 33 or 34, and then that diesel truck is somewhere right at 50. So that's where we're at on mileage. So, you know, we're looking, if we're not getting it till 24, we're looking at every truck that I have, except for one, should be at, around, or over 100,000 miles at that point.
And that was part of the problem or issue I had with purchasing several new vehicles at the same time, and
don't disagree.
You don't get in that rotation of where you can go, okay, we'll have one now, and then next year we can go another one maybe, or maybe we get 2 years before we have to do another one.
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's a process that you guys will have to start over. You'll have to start that process of starting to cycle. And like I know you and I have talked just candidly about it, and I said, you know, I think the first time you're probably gonna have to buy two, cause that'll bridge you for 3 years, and then get in that year. That's just my opinion, take it for what it's worth. But that's where my opinion's at on it.
So I guess my question would be is, if we got to the point where commissioners went along with it, the council went along with it, what's the upfront cost?
So it depends on how we buy and where we buy from. Typically there's a deposit involved that's somewhere around that 10 to 20% of the total cost of it. If we do a custom order, it's usually quite a bit more.
We don't custom anymore, do we?
Everything we have was custom ordered.
I know, but if you were gonna buy one on your own, would you custom?
There wouldn't be anything custom built. We'd probably add lights in certain areas where we need it, because we've got ultrasound and stuff like that most services don't have, but it wouldn't be like we're going to add a shelf here that's normally not there or anything crazy, no. I think there might be a few add-ons, but we're not custom building a truck now. It would just be add-ons at that point. But yeah, it's usually around that 10 to 20% range for a deposit. You get in a custom, you're usually around that 50% mark.
Okay.
But that's just something I feel like, you know, we need to go, because which both of these are kind of saying is if we wait until we get 3-4 months into 2023, we're looking at a 2025 delivery.
So are we talking Crossroads, or that's usually where we've been?
Crossroads or Penn Care, I mean, over to both. Penn Care, They sell, their main manufacturer is Braun. They also deal with Demir's, Crossroads, big in PL Custom. They can also deal with Demir's, so.
Okay. Question?
No.
Question?
I don't know how the whole opioid thing's working. I don't know if we qualify for any of that, so I don't have to soak up your ARPA funds. But, I don't know.
Well,
But I think it's something that I don't wanna get pushed to the back burner and then us get to where I got 5 trucks with 250,000 miles on them and they're all broke.
And there ain't no money left.
well, I don't wanna be in that position either, and that's.
Cause we've been there before when I was here the first time, where all the trucks had 170,000 plus miles on it, and you remember borrowing trucks from New Wash.
I don't wanna be in a situation where we're having to replace them all at the same time either, and that's what upset me last time,
Yeah, I'm already liked enough, I don't need any of that after my plate.
so. Well, let's,
Some food for thought for next meeting.
let's do on that. That
But I did bring you,
if it's technically 2 years out, before you get it, I mean, I don't see a reason why we couldn't, cause we're not gonna, I mean, we'd have to have that money when it.
we'd have to pay in full on delivery, but the deposit would be that probably 20%, I'd bank on 20% up front.
So,
In 2 years from now, you can probably pay for it yourself without.
Well, I'll get to that in a minute.
alright,
But these 2 things here, this one is from PennCare, just explaining the process, and then this one is an email from Justin, who is their rep from Crossroads, so it's not me feeding you a line of
I get it.
misinformation, this is from
I know,
them.
I know a big ambulance guy down south that he's having problems too, so.
I'll kind of skip this one real quick, for the Sprinter grant process, so this is what this, IHCP and along with the FSSA. So if they open this back up, we originally got the email on the 26th of November and it closed on the 28th. So that was really handy. Dr. Yazel did call me and say they're probably going to reopen this because they had a bunch of money left. The thing with that is if they do reopen, where they're resending it back out and they're kind of letting everybody know there's gonna be a lot of money left, the process is probably gonna have to be quick. It is a grant application. It is going to be fully funded if you qualify. The caveat with this is we have to receive Medicaid money, which we do. We have to be in network with the Southeast Trans, which we are. And anytime that it can be, it has to be used for those Southeast Trans or Medicaid runs, which it would be because those are typically transfers.
So this.
We can use it for anything else outside of that when it can't be utilized for that, but its primary function has to be used for that stuff.
So this is
Correct?
this is 100%,
No match, no nothing.
I'd say it's a good application.
So,
Cause I know that's what ties up our ambulances is the transfers, but I also know the transfers where we continue to generate revenue.
it's a double-edged sword.
Yep.
If you wanna fill out one of those grant applications, like, and have it on ready for us, and that way they can push it through, cause I'm assuming that it will probably be after the first of the year.
I would assume.
So that grant application would be like,
He can just do it.
no
Well,
match
he'll have to come
required,
back,
and
but-
what it is, and who's granting the,
Right.
then have it on the ready, and that way you can take it to commissioners and council really quickly as soon as
Well,
you
we
can.
can,
Okay,
we can approve him to
Go for it.
go for it.
Yeah, I think it'd be, got it covered anyway.
Yeah.
So, you
but
want
you
to,
wanna get them to sign
I'll-
those out.
I'll make,
I'll entertain a motion to give Nick the go-ahead to, when this application opens, to fill out the grant application for a Sprinter ambulance that will be at no cost to the county, to be ran on, I guess, transfers, so.
Some transfers, yeah.
Some transfers.
I'll make that motion to approve that grant for the Sprinter.
John, makes or entertains a motion to,
Approve.
to give Nick the go-ahead to fill out the application for the grant.
I second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so,
So good luck on that one.
I like free. I said I like
I
free.
do too. Like I said, there's caveats
But
with it. We can't just use it how we want, but it might be able to limit some of the miles we're putting on our other trucks if we can utilize it in a specific area.
Well, but we also have those problems using,
Yep.
you know.
Yes, sir. All right.
What else?
I'm gonna bring up a bunch of stuff that's probably gonna have you interject and tell me I can't do this, and that's fine.
If it's about a personnel situation, that's no.
I don't need any more people.
No, I think you're talking page 2 there, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
Here.
It's the top part that says Holiday and Kelly.
So one thing that I would like, again, I'm not asking for anything tonight, I just want to put it up for discussion. The first thing is that, one thing that I would like to be considered is that, so the way that has to do with holidays. The way that my staff is compensated right now is every 3 months, they get 24 hours, the full-time people get 24 hours of holiday time to take off, right? If they take off that holiday time, like as a day off, they do not get paid any of their overtime on it. So if they work 24 hours on Monday and their next scheduled day is Thursday and they take that, 48 hours are at straight time. To where if they use PTO, they work Monday, they take PTO on that Thursday, they get 40 of regular time, 8 hours of overtime, because that's how the schedule works. If they use the holiday, they don't get any overtime on that. So they lose money taking those days. Additionally, it's one of those things that they have to use it or lose it, because holiday, correct me if I'm wrong, does not roll over. Correct, okay. So now, like the pickle that I'm in at the end of the year, I got 18 people trying to take 4 days off, which now, super fun to fill a schedule with of, that. So one thing I'd like to just open the topic of discussion on is seeing if we can look into the future and maybe pose some type of incentive for A, people to work holidays, and B, that include my part-time people. Jackson County does it as a way that they pay a flat fee. If you work it, it's not overtime, it's not going against your hours, it's just, you work Christmas, you get $200, flat fee. You work the day, here's $200. If you work half the day, here's $100. It's an incentive to work that holiday. The other thing that I have is the way that my crews work, their work week is 56 hours a week on average, 48 one week, 72 the next. The way that they accumulate that holiday time is not based on a 56-hour work week.
Have you looked at federal wage and labor on this? Sometimes they have mandates on how these things have to get paid. Federal wage and
Mandates
labor.
for,
Just how they, there's certain things they have to, communities have to pay certain wages for certain things, and this may be one of them.
they don't have to be incentivized to work a holiday, that's not a labor law. They do have to get paid to work the holiday, but they don't have to be paid additional to work the holiday. That's what I'm.
What's other services that are compensated like we are, what are?
I don't know of any. So Jackson County pays a flat fee. So again, if you work the holiday, any of the holidays that the auditor's office would be off would be considered a holiday you get paid for. The full day is 200, half a shift is 100. It's just Washington County, for instance, whether you work the holiday or not, you work it or not, you are paid 24 hours of holiday pay for that day.
So you said in the beginning that throughout the year, they're compensated for those holidays technically with some time that they're given.
January, April, July, October, they're given 24 hours of holiday time.
Okay, alright, so if we back up and we say we're not gonna give them that 24 hours of holiday, just, hey, boom, here's your 24 hours, and we say every holiday, what happens if there's a person that isn't working that holiday? Are they not getting the holiday pay, or is it just the people?
So everybody, like up north, everybody accumulates those PTO hours, that holiday time, but only the people that work the holiday are the ones that get incentivized with the pay. Like, not every employee gets the $200, it's only the people that work that day that get the money.
Okay, so the other people would still
get the time off, they just don't get incentivized to work that day, because they're not working.
But they also need to be incentivized to use it or lose it at the end of the year.
And that's why a lot of my people don't use it, because they lose money using that holiday day. because if they take it, they don't get overtime on it.
So they need to take it on their 72-hour week.
No, that's the worst time to take it, because you're losing 24 hours. You're using it on your short week, cause you're only losing of 8 hours of overtime instead of 32.
Oh.
So that's just again, Washington County, whether they work the day or not, 24 hours is added to their paycheck, and if it puts them in overtime, they get paid overtime on that, whether they work it or not. That is a very expensive option I do not wanna go to here.
That's something what I was asking you the other day.
Yep. I've seen what it does to your bottom line. The employees love it, administration does not, because you're paying 18 people overtime rate.
So.
And you only have 8 people working.
Have you figured how much it would cost additional?
On the incentive, like the dollar amount? So if we went just to where it's a flat fee, right, it's just $200. I average it off of 10 holidays a year. Like, that, there would be. I think it was around 16,000 is what it was at for the year. Because you would just take 2 times 10, which is 2,000, times the people, which would be 6. So that would be 12,000 or 15,000. 12,000, but the 15 was in there for if you have that election year or whatever where it bumps up. So it'd be that 12 to 15,000. But that was based off of 10 holidays.
Okay. If you figured it where.
If you do it to where everybody receives the money, whether they work or not, you're looking at about 80,000.
Yeah, I'm not looking at that at all.
Me either.
What I'm looking at, I'm trying to figure out is if, how you could do it in a work cycle that they don't lose their overtime. I mean, and that's probably gonna be a legal question of how.
Yeah, I think that would have to change our SOPs or the pay ordinance or salary ordinance of how that happens. Because right now, people don't use them because they lose money.
Yeah, and again, I've had this problem too, because I used to have to tell people they couldn't take vacation in December, so.
Yeah, and I can't let 18 people off in 31 days, 4 times.
Okay, well, let's,
So that, again, that's food for thought.
I don't know the answer to that question yet, so.
The second thing that I wanted to bring up, which will only save us money, it's one thing I implemented over there, and it's something that worked payroll-wise, and it kind of balanced things, is most 24/48 services have something called the Kelly Day. And that's a day off on a normal. Kelly's the guy that was smart, came up with it, I don't know. Kelly came up with this, and it was a good idea.
Girl.
Could be. She came up with a good idea then. So what a Kelly Day is on their long week, their long week is referred to where they work Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. They work 3 days that week. What they can do is they can take off their Sunday, their Wednesday, or their Saturday. It can go, and it would go unpaid, but they're responsible for finding their own coverage. The reason that I say that makes us, or saves us money, is because on their long week, I'm paying 32 hours of overtime. If they take a day off there, I'm only paying them 8 because that day goes unpaid. And I'm filling it with a part-time person, so I'm saving 22 or 24 hours at overtime at $10 an hour. That's $240 every time that, someone takes that day off. Because.
But you're saying they have to
find their own coverage because it's going unpaid, so they're not submitting a PTO request because it's not. And that's the problem right now. If they don't work a day on their schedule, they have to use PTO. They have to. They can't have a Kelly day.
Okay.
So this would save us money doing that because if they take the day off, I'm paying straight time instead of overtime to an employee.
Unless that person's
They can't put them in overtime.
Okay, well, that's something to think about too.
So again, there would be a couple, that's why probably questions for him is how it would affect our SOPs and things like that, but, I don't need an answer now, I just want to start talking about things that I think is it gonna save us 50 grand a year? No. Can it save us 10 to 15? Possibly, if people take them.
Well, we don't need people hoarding, I don't mean that in a bad way, but having that many PTO days at the end of the year or hours that puts management in a bad place.
Right.
And you want those people to use
Take off.
that you want them to use those days, that's why they're out there.
So that's why with the Kelly, what you kinda have to go to with that is they have to start scheduling their time off at the beginning of the year. Because for you to use a Kelly, you can't use a Kelly day on a day that anybody else is off of that level of care. So you kinda have to, like, if you three worked for me, you'd kinda all have to submit your vacation requests at the beginning of the year, so I know when people are gonna be off. And then when those people are off, you can't take a Kelly that day, or you can, or you start scheduling those Kelly days out.
Okay.
Because not many people are gonna call on a Friday and be like, hey, you wanna work my 24 tomorrow? And people will be like, yeah, I'll drop what I'm doing. That's not how this service works, because most of my part-time people work full-time somewhere else. So that's why you kinda have to schedule it.
Alright, food for thought.
Yep, that's it.
What else you got?
I think that's it.
Alright.
Yep. Got anything for me? Did you hear anything good about me? No. Didn't figure.
Wait and see when you read the paper, right? Yeah.
But I
Right.
did
Get your name spelled right, don't you worry.
I think, again, I work with your guys all the time, I know what they do and how hard they work and
Some of it goes unnoticed, and
There's a
some
lot.
people don't realize what we do, but
there's a lot of it goes unnoticed.
they'll be educated
You're
soon enough.
you're like a volunteer fireman, you know, we go put a fire out in the middle of the night, and the next morning, people wake up and see their neighbor's house burnt to the ground, or
Don't know what
on
happened.
fire and don't understand we were there,
Yep.
so.
One thing I do wanna kinda bring to your guys' attention, just for, it's good but bad. So, as you guys know, it's about my budget, and then I'll get up. And I know it doesn't concern you, but again, I work for you guys, so I feel like I should keep you in the loop. We know that this year we were based, I don't know if Shannon or Kyle did the budget, whoever did that budget.
Neither one did.
Okay, budget that I'm currently working under, we were at $848,000 of lit money, is what we were at. That's how much we were appropriated from lit. I got my budget, the dollar amount on the budget that I submitted was approved, but the locations in where my budget was approved from wasn't. The council moved almost $700,000 out of lit and put it back into my budget, which is great, because that means that what we're doing is supporting, my budget's being, this year we were only approved for a $1.2 million budget, the rest had to be taken out of lit because of our income. Now my budget is supported by $1.9 million budget by our income. So that's great for us, but there's no fluff there now, like not fluff, there's no net. Because right now I've got between $400,000 and $500,000 in my cash balance, plus what we're bringing in gets me to that dollar amount. So I just kinda wanna, if there's a appropriation asked for out of lit next year, that will be why. Which everybody's aware. It's a good problem to have, but it's a scary problem to have.
Wow.
Because I know when we all talked, our initial goal was like to remove 175,000 out of lit each year. Well, we just removed 5 years in 1 year. So that's the scary part.
And I appreciate that. But the other part of that is, I've always said that, we do 2 or 3 services that we're required to do, and that's law enforcement, you know, fire
Yeah, it is now a mandate that you must have medical coverage in your county.
and EMS, and
Can't not.
so with that, I always said that if the numbers went to the basement to where, we don't have a whole lot of runs, of course, we have to manage our business right, and with that, if the runs fall, you know, employees fall and equipment falls and everything else, but we need to run it as a business, but I guess my point is that your run volume drops, that's a good thing in my opinion, and that means accidents aren't happening, people aren't sick, and they're not needing that service as bad.
Yeah, we don't potentiate our run volume.
But I don't have a problem at all subsidizing the EMS service, you know, cause that is the one service that actually generates some sort of revenue.
Yep.
So, we're not having to pay that whole cash cow, so I'm happy as heck. And quite honestly, I'd almost be happier, I think we rank either 90 or 91 out of 92 counties as this, you know, poor health in the whole state of Indiana, and if we can reduce our transactions or with unhealthy people, I think it's a benefit to the community, so.
For sure.
So with that, I'm done.
Okay, me too.
Alright, see you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks. Do you guys want any quotes, me to start getting quotes on ambulances, and if so, type 1 or 3? Or are you indifferent? Cause type 3 cannot be 4-wheel drive, they don't make those.
I think we need 4 drive.
Okay.
See you. Consideration of the regular, meeting claims, everybody, I don't know where they're at.
Alright, so I'm gonna do my best to walk through what Tammy has left. And you guys tell me if
You playing Tammy now?
if I'm doing something wrong. So let's go. Regular November claims. There is no signature line on these, but, what I think has been requested is that you all approve the claims as submitted.
Oh, those are, I see.
And these are the regular claims, I guess. Approve the claims as submitted, and permit, signatures outside of the meeting, and somebody can come in to sign next time, give an opportunity.
This is what's usually in the book.
I think they had an issue where an employee just had something and had to leave, and they'll have the signatures ready.
That's fine. Again, we'll, I'll entertain a motion to accept the monthly claims for November 2022. I had an opportunity to look at them.
Motion made.
Sean makes a motion, Randy. Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, and I'm gonna sign my name here, and I'll let you guys sign too. Next up is claim for, the 2022, ARPA bonus money that we, allowed.
Alright, so there's, everybody should have a copy of, the list with, the total amounts. And you'll see that, so here is actually, the total amount, and this is the one that she has requested the signature on. It is that number plus this additional claim
19.
For $19.50.
So, 190,000 plus the 1950?
That's my understanding. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I understood too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, it's cheaper than I thought we were gonna get off. Cause I was looking at
Well,
220 or something, but.
You know, hopefully they can do another one next year. And see what happens.
So let's see here.
What do you need?
Well,
Vote on that?
Yeah.
yes, you would need to vote on it, and then there's a signature line on the claim, and then signature lines, the final page of this one for, everybody.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion to accept the bonuses for all county employees that are eligible. At the number of, are we talking $191,950?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to pass that.
John makes a motion, Randy. Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so it's second. This is the one that, yeah. And you said there was one for.
mud. Alright, that's claims for the bonus, the second, then we're gonna combine these next two.
Yeah, this is all the same vendor.
Just on the back page.
You'll see,
Is for Ecotech, and looks like, Ecotech for $36,457.70. It's for, the months of July, or 2 pickups in July, 1 in August, and 1 in September.
We actually owe them a lot more money than that.
this is claims payable to Vet, Echo, and Ecotech, to Vet. So I would suggest doing these two as separate.
Okay.
So actually what I was trying to say is that there's 2 separate vouchers for vet communication, one in the amount of $8,060 and one in the amount of $1,572.89, which when you add those 2 things together, you get $9,573.49. And so they're 2 separate ones, but that's the total amount, and then there's signatures on each of the claims vouchers here.
Alright, I'll entertain a motion to accept the vet communication, claim.
Now, is that for the ambulance, or what's that for?
This is for, it looks like, 800 megahertz radio programming.
It's a communication.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, he had that on his list for, when
Yeah,
Nick was here, and I think he said this was, I think that's what this is, and I think it's already taken care of, we just need to approve it.
Yes, that's,
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Yeah,
I think
I'll make
some
a
of this
motion.
coming out of redevelopment.
I'll make a motion.
That is correct.
John makes a motion to, accept a claim for, vet communications. Randy? I second that. Randy makes that second, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
Then we have
Then the one.
Ecotech for $36,000.
And my curiosity on Ecotech is this, I'm curious, you may not even know, this money will be taken out of next year's funds?
No,
This will be
this
paid
is
up.
what money we owe.
This is
Well, I
money.
know that, but I thought we had some rear end problems we were gonna take care of the first year.
I don't believe you could approve a claim for use out of next year's funds.
We actually owe Ecotech about $70,000.
I know we owe them, I just was curious whether it was coming out of this year's funds or next year's funds.
This is this year.
Cause I thought we was out of money.
We are.
So how are we paying for out of this year?
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up, and then I was talking to Zach ahead of time.
Yeah, so, the question, specifically, I think, was for use of the rainy day fund. Resolution 2003-12-9 established the rainy day fund. It's established by the fiscal body. It has to go through the same appropriations process that any other use would have to, so I don't think you could use that first off today. Second off, the council decides what the qualified uses are for rainy day fund, and I think whether or not this qualifies as that use is kind of debatable. So in my mind, in addition, I think you'd have to declare that there was some type of like emergency situation, and I'm not saying that there's not an impending need to pay the claims. I think that there is a separate potential solution for at least this amount out of the 2 funds that are outlined here.
We don't have enough money in there.
No, we got 20,000.
So,
And then the original fund, which was 11,000.
this one, it looks like Fund 9641, the timber fund.
Yeah, there's not enough
Which
money to cover.
you would take 20 from, and then the rental proceeds fund you could take $16,457 and
Well,
70 cents, which would cover the total amounts here. So I think,
quite honestly, I don't think it's our responsibility to find where the funds come from. I mean, I think that's where the council's gonna have to, you know.
yeah, I'm just
get
talking about in terms
calculator.
of like claim procedure.
Yeah. Well, I get there's accounts, but they also have general fund money that, and a rainy day fund that they can
That's
go.
where I think we're looking at here.
They're the ones that create the budget for the landfill, and if in July we were already out of money, then somebody didn't figure the money very well, in my opinion, but.
Yeah, why is it just now getting to us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we're talking about, you know, being in a deficit at the landfill. But I mean, and I'm not blaming them, I'm just blaming the, you know, hey.
Well, there's a concern we're talking is, I'm talking to a company to take over the transfer station for us. So there's a little bit of a politics playing there that we need to think about.
Well,
but we need to push it off on the council.
The council's
Hurry
gonna,
up and
the council's gonna have to pay the bills, so.
make sure Tammy gets them.
And they have money, they got money
Oh, I agree.
back in other accounts,
We
it's
just
not
need
our.
to get the council to do it.
Yeah, well, we'll send it to them and they need to pay the bill.
Go from there, yeah.
I mean,
If they don't, it's on them.
that's what they're wanting on the job.
It's on you.
I guess what we need to do though is we need to approve the amount for the council to go ahead and find the funds for it.
That's correct.
And there's what, meeting next Tuesday?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
So, I'll accept the
No,
motion.
they're going to meet on the 21st.
21st,
They
same
changed
day
their
we
meeting.
are?
Yes, at 9:30 that morning downstairs.
So they'll meet before we meet.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll accept the motion to pay the $36,457.70 to Ecotech.
I'll make that motion.
John makes the motion, Randy.
I second that.
Randy seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so.
We got their bills.
Yep, we sure do. So I'm gonna.
But I do wonder why we're just now getting this.
It came up the last meeting, and I don't know why,
Yeah,
I thought we voted on then to send it to them.
Yeah.
They kept wanting us to pick out what fund it was gonna come to, and that's why I don't understand.
Wherever they want to, I reckon, that's
That's
up to
not
them.
our job, our job is to.
But I mean, I don't
approve the
remember
amount,
seeing, I don't remember seeing this in July, or
Yeah.
June and July, is
Yeah,
what
I've
I'm
seen
saying.
this same thing before.
Yeah.
The other part of that is, and if they think that we're going to, spend it on ARPA money, we can't spend
Not for
this
this.
type of
Yeah.
bill out of ARPA, so
I'm not.
I think I signed one of those, so.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I think that's what the hope was.
Yeah, I think that may be good, but, all right, considerations of the November 19th, and I'm gonna,
Matter of fact,
I'm gonna,
it's a ruling that you cannot use ARPA to shore up funds.
that's what I said, you can't do it for that type of thing. Consideration of November 18th and the November 2nd payroll docket, everybody had an opportunity to look at the payroll.
Make a motion to pass them.
John makes a motion to pass the payroll docket for the 18th and the November 2nd, Randy.
It's Christmas, why not, yeah.
Randy seconds that, and I make that unanimous. Consideration of the minutes of the November 2nd regular meeting. Everybody had an opportunity to, yeah, there.
You gotta do one, okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll make a motion.
There's two places to sign here, I guess. Sign and date.
Where you at?
Down on 615. But there's some, I guess it's a little. Alright, there's something different in here. It's longevity pay and some other stuff in the claims, so, it goes along with the same thing, so we'll have to sign in 3 different places here. So, have luck finding the arrows. Everybody had an opportunity to, look at the minutes. Is everybody good with those?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second,
Randy makes a motion to accept the minutes for November the 2nd. John?
second.
John seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous. Now we're down to, a MOU with the city. And
So this is an interlocal.
Both is.
I think that maybe we had approved this.
we approved it a year ago or so, or
Yes, and I remember doing the amendment as well, but, and we've actually invoiced the cities for these, but we're trying to shore up, I guess, the documentation on it. So before city will pay, they want signed copies, and, let's see.
So you're saying we didn't sign it on the night that we approved it?
I don't even, I think we did, I just
I
don't
thought
know.
we did too, cause
Yeah.
the sheriff brought it to us. And
Yes.
So,
But,
and is this, I guess my question, is this gonna be for extended into 2023? Or is this something to finish?
I think it's an annual interlocal.
Yeah.
But, so each year that the agreement is in effect, I would need a copy of again, this is just you approved for sure, the interlocal. This is just an amendment that I think you went from a $10,000 to a $15,000 amount.
It was always 15.
Okay, then.
Yeah, it was always a 15.
So,
This is not the full agreement, I guess. This only revised 2 subsections, which one of them was the manner of financing, staffing, supplying, and establishing, maintaining the project budget. The other one was the agreement purpose. So, I believe it's an annual contract, like an annual interlocal, or it's a multi-year interlocal that we review kind of as we go along. But I think the intended purpose is to keep it going on a yearly basis.
So you guys know what we're talking about?
So I assume that's where the sheriff's department goes,
Yeah.
guys go work, and they're not gonna get paid if we don't sign this, it sounds like, so yeah, I'll sign it.
but nothing for the county.
We need to vote on it, or just
Yeah,
sign
we
it?
need to vote.
I'll make a motion to pass it.
John makes a motion to pass amendment to the interlocal agreement between the City of Austin, City of Scottsburg, and Scott County regarding offender work crew services. So, Randy?
I'm not gonna vote on that yet.
So, you're voting no, or?
Voting no right now.
I guess my question, because you were saying that they're not gonna pay you guys for 2022 until we sign this.
What's the matter, whether we receive the money or not, is that what this is?
That's what
Yeah.
it's obvious that.
How much money we talking?
And actually, it goes to us and then it goes to the council, so the council has to approve it as well, so.
That's
How much money we talking here?
30,000. Which, it's obvious, we probably already paid our people.
You've already performed the service of it.
Yeah, we've already paid our people, they're probably gonna reimburse our payroll. And, so you want to vote no, or you want to?
I mean, it should have been broken up, it shouldn't have been, in my opinion, you're asking me 2 different things at one time to try to shove off something that, come back to me, in my opinion, come back to me with, they owe us $30,000, will you sign that? And my answer would be yes, but, whether or not I agree to, do it again for next year, that's a totally different thing, because how come you can't ask the county to do the same?
I agree with you wholeheartedly about, we pay jailers' salaries over there, and we pay part-time jailer salaries over there, and I don't understand why he excludes us from, his crews, working for the county, so.
Actually, I think we came out cheaper, I mean, on the mowing. was like I mean, this, I'm not trying to change the, but
I realize.
we're doing this for like $8,000 a year now, and Bill's paying like 15 or 20.
This year we had severe trouble with our equipment and tractors, and we could have really used the manpower, and we didn't have the option of being helped. You know.
Anyway, I made my motion pass.
Well, you wanna-
We're not gonna get the money if we don't. If you wanna do a
So what's
separate
the
thing, allow them
option, what's
next
the
year.
options you want to
I'm
do?
trying to find the actual.
Me,
Yes.
if he wants to bring it to us, that,
So this agreement, yeah, just showing that this will affect the issue, which is what I was looking for. The agreement auto renews, on a yearly basis, irrespective of whether you authorize that amendment. This agreement's been approved. It auto renews, beginning December 31st, 2021, automatically renew an additional 1-year terms unless written notice of termination is provided to the parties at least 60 days prior to January 1st of the upcoming renewal year. So, I mean, it would be renewed at this point for 2023. There's no guarantee it would renew for.
So we, at the end of September or October, we would have had to give notice.
Yep.
So we're already into contract for 2023.
Yep.
I think, Randy, I agree with you that I, for the life of me, I mean, everybody talked about, oh, we cut his budget, we did this, we did that, that's why he didn't do it. Well, we didn't, no one ever cut anybody's budget, so I don't understand why he, you know, he took among himself to stop mowing for the county and you know, use the inmates for other purposes, and then said that, well, they paid him. Well, we were paying him the part-time jailer as well. I mean, so in turn, I think that's a question that the sheriff needs to answer. As far as continuing that program, I'm sure it benefits the city of Austin, the city of Scottsburg. I'm sure it does. But I don't like the fact that, you know, we were kinda, you know, the jail is part of the county supports the jail, commissioners support the jail, and
So the original agreement too was only $10,000. That amendment made it 15. So that's the other thing is, I mean,
I was always under the impression, cause even he made a statement about 15, so.
I'm just
So
reading.
that, and that's fine.
I'm just reading this.
The only number I ever remembered was the 15, so.
and so we're on the hook for helping Scottsburg, and we're on the hook for helping Austin next year. What we're asking here is, for our signature to be, reimbursed for that labor.
Well, they're gonna reimburse, each city is putting, if what
Right.
he's saying is, what Zach's saying is, it was 10, so they put in $20,000, they're gonna write a check to the county government, and we're going to utilize that, or send that to that line item for that part-time jailer. Looks to me like if it wasn't 10, it's now 15 apiece, so it's 30.
And I wouldn't call it a reimbursement, I think it's a fee.
Well,
I don't know what
it's a
they're
user
actually,
fee.
I don't know what we're actually, I don't know what we're actually spending.
Yeah.
I know what we're getting paid
Yeah.
to use them.
It may not be,
It might be interesting to look.
it might not
in a
be
sense,
apples
it's
to apples.
reimbursement,
Yes.
because you've already provided the service. So now,
Yeah.
So, I'm like you, I think the city of Scottsburg's probably getting a good deal, the city of Austin's probably getting a good deal for throwing up, you know, the money. And again, I know when it was brought before us, I thought it was a great idea, I mean, and again, I don't know where, you know, I know there was a statement made that we cut it, you know, the council cut his budget, and that's why he can't afford to do the stuff for the county, which makes no sense, since every dollar that's paid to the jail and to the jailers and everything else comes from county dollars. Anyway, in past sheriffs before that, you know, we used a part-time jailer, but besides that, I mean, I think the only thing
Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the amendment is just for the increase of the pay? Is what you're looking at?
Yeah, so section 3 was amended, it formerly said, Austin and Scottsburg will each pay $10,000 to the county within 60 days of execution by all parties of this agreement. The amendment says Austin and Scottsburg will each pay $15,000 to the county on or before July 1st of each year that the agreement is in effect. Number 2 was agreement purpose. I think it just changed the total number of days that crews might be available and the shift periods for a work day. No, that's all the same. Okay, I don't know what.
And again, I'll read that part you're talking about. It says the county shall provide an offender work crew for 4 to 6 inmates to Austin and Scottsburg for 35 weeks, typically March through November.
That's why they increased it. They added 9 weeks.
To assist Austin and Scottsburg in maintenance and infrastructure and facilities. The work crew shall generally work 3 days in Austin and 2 in Scottsburg 1 week, and 3 in Scottsburg and 2 in Austin the following week. Work days shall typically consist of 8 hours, including travel time from and to designated work sites. The sheriff shall have ultimate authority to determine if a work crew will be available, taking into consideration the weather, security needs, welfare, or general welfare of crew members, and other pertinent factors. If the county is unable to provide a crew as scheduled, the sheriff shall communicate with Austin and or Scottsburg as soon as reasonably possible. The county shall provide transportation for the work crews to and from the work sites. Austin Scottsburg shall designate the work to be done at each location. So I understand the argument about why, we approved another part-time, jailer, I guess, to be the guard that guards the crews in a term the first year. That's what happened. I mean, they were mowing out here, they were mowing at other county places, they were mowing intersections in the county, and then, as everybody knows, March of last year, we were told in about a paragraph letter that was gonna cease because of budget cuts. Well, I asked councilmen and they said they didn't cut the budget, so anyway, the bottom line is here, we're already into the 2023 budget, or into the 2023 contract with this MOU and that, or interlocal agreement, and we need to fund it, I guess, or approve to have it funded, because otherwise we're not gonna get paid. And if we choose to do away with it, with the agreement, then by end of October next year, we need to do that, so.
Correct.
Comments?
I'm still at a no.
That's
And,
fine.
Merry Christmas to Austin and Scottsburg for the service that we provided.
Well, they paid for it, I mean.
Yeah, we need the money.
I mean, they paid all right, I mean, they're paying for it. I mean, so we're not giving them anything, they're both throwing up this past year, I guess, 10,000 apiece, so
I guess that's right.
they're writing a check for $20,000, and next year they'll write one for 30. They're paying.
If you approve this, they'll write a check this year for 30,000.
Okay, so it's 30 this year.
Yeah, this was back, I mean, this is for
Okay, so we already
29.
paid for the service.
No, this is to get paid for the service.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so they're gonna pay for it.
But they're gonna pay 15.
They're gonna pay $30,000, 15 apiece.
15 apiece.
To county government to support the part-time jailer
Okay.
that we've already paid for him.
Right,
We're
we've
just getting-
already supplied the labor.
Yeah.
They're wanting, if we sign that, they will pay us for it, right?
Yeah. they've
I
already,
understand, that's what I mean by Merry Christmas to Scottsburg City and Austin, 'cause I'm not signing that.
okay, well, that's your right, so. Alright, John,
I made a motion.
John made a motion to pass the interlocal agreement. Randy is voting no, and I'll vote, in favor of it, so it's a situation where I don't like it, but,
But you said it's an I'm sorry, you said it's an auto renewal next year?
it's every
It
year.
is auto renewed for next year because the termination notice date has already passed.
Okay.
Yet,
So it'll have to go to another
So,
reading.
well, what I'm saying is if they wanna stop this, they can stop it next October.
it's a contract, it's
This
not.
is a contract, it's not an ordinance. So you need to, right over here, if you're gonna vote no.
But if I'm not wrong, if you want to in October, you can stop.
And that's why I said we have to know by
Yeah.
October that we either are in it or out of it,
Yeah.
so.
And
You
you
need
go
to sign
with-
that.
Yeah.
Where's it? Alright. Attorney comments, you got anything?
Trying to pull the specific date.
You put that in the calendar to talk about it, but.
You know what you're doing.
Good.
Good, somebody here does now.
I'm just sitting here.
Written notice at least
You know
60
what?
days
You know,
prior to
this thing,
January
there's
1st.
nothing, that's the main thing. There you go.
Renewal year.
Before we
So
say
that's,
something we wish we hadn't.
End of October, wouldn't it?
yes,
If there's, well,
yeah,
there's not less than 30 days in a month, so.
yeah. End of October.
Got any comments? John?
No.
Randy? Any comments? Alright, I have, I just got one, and I guess you both know about Jeff Fortner. And I did talk to him the other night, he called me, and I had actually been texting him back and forth quite often, and I texted him something, and he actually just picked the phone up and called me, so he's gonna be being moved sometime before the end of this week to Fraser Rehab, and we'll be there for 2 weeks, and then he should be home, so just up for everybody to remember that, so.
I think Will's doing a good job keeping tack over there.
Actually, that's the other part of this, Will's been in complete control over there, he knows what's going on with 911. As far as EMA, there's been a conversation with area EMAs and especially with the one in Clarksville or Clark County, and he's said, you know, any beck and call, all you gotta do is make the phone call and he'd come up here and help with anything we got going on. But speaking with area firemen, most of the time we handle those situations anyway, so EMA does have a lot more contacts than we do, but most of the fire departments are capable of handling most of that problem and do have the contacts, but I guess everybody just needs to be aware that we're covered, I guess, right now, so that's all I got. I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
John makes a motion, Randy?
I second.
Randy seconds it, I'll make that unanimous, so. Kill the bird.
Ugh,
Well, it has a red square.
you got that turned off.
Jeez.
Most important thing right now is that, well, that
Hang
thing
on, I
turned
don't know
off.
if that's all or not.
I'm counting on you, Marty.
It has that square on it.
I don't know how to
Don't say something you wish you hadn't for a few minutes.
Here's how you